Hello, Judy. Hi. You see me?
Hang on.
What's camera pointing that way for?
I only see blackness.
I'm trying to figure out how to do the camera. Is that it?
Yeah, it's basically. Can you see the audience, Judy?
Can you see me now?
Yeah, I can.
Hi.
Good.
How you doing? I couldn't process the files you sent me, so I hope you can do a screen share.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's important that you have the files. It's okay, Rich. I can do a screen share, but
Great.
I'm using two different computers, so that's where the issue comes from. Let me try and pop it on the other screen to keep focused on the events of today. So
I'm not technically savvy.
And Judy, we're happy to do whatever type of presentation you want to discuss. I thought at the end we could ask you questions, though.
well, and you can start with asking me questions because perhaps whatever the screen share, because what I put together here today is, basically just what's ongoing right now is this court hearing, or it's going to start between, Rand Paul theoretically and Tony Fauci. And so this was about, Tony Fauci. And I'm sorry, this didn't start in 2019. Rand Paul and Tony Fauci sat in front of Rand Paul, and he lied to Rand Paul then. Sorry, I got to see how many phones are going to ring on this thing.
It's great now that we have his diary, and Rand Paul discussed that.
His diary is total fraud and bullshit. I mean, what he's writing now is, well, it's a cover-up. And that's what I'm trying to show you.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to show you is that, so now we've got his diary. We knew that. That's exactly what Tony Fauci did in 1983 when he stole and did gain of function of LAV, lymphadenopathy virus, from the French. And that would be Luc Montagnier. And then the National Cancer Institute tried to rewrite history, and all COVID is about is liability. So, and the liability goes back. So they want you to believe that Rand Paul didn't sit in the same room with him in 2019, and absolutely did, February 27th, 2019. And I've got this stuff in the slides that I'm trying to show. But if somebody in the audience has an email or running the system, it's important that you have these documents to share across your networks, because we've been censored now, for the better part of 43 years. So we could start with questions and we can go into what's going on. And I will attempt to email if somebody gives me an email from the other system here. And I'll just come back in a second. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can forward it. Can. Sure. Pop up.
Right now. Trying to get the.
Do you know why exactly she was sent to prison? Is it because she disagreed with Fauci?
I don't have. Oh shoot! I gotta send it to my Yahoo account. That's the only reason. That's the only way I got Ken.
She's had to take questions first. She said.
Okay, let me see.
And she said everything live, so we'll just talk to him.
Well, I hate that guy who argues about things.
Huh?
It's finally came through.
You got? Is it one call or two?
One. Okay.
What can you expect?
Right. So
Correct.
you gotta accept that.
Lies now.
Correct.
I said two miles.
Maybe one question to ask there.
It's going to this find time.
Right. I think it's illegal.
It is, but we're still in the.
We're in the discovery stage.
Correct. Correct. It's kind of like a trap.
Right.
Okay, I just sent it, the whole zip file to you.
Right. All right. Yes.
So you're just gonna lay down in bed?
You know what?
Copies of these documents can be found linked in the show notes of my videos. For a complete set of YouTube videos with private information shares, a DVD with over 100 searchable law dictionaries, and other books and forms, contact me privately at engineerwin@yahoo.com. Donations to support this work are appreciated. I prefer gold to silver coin, but as an extremely less desirable alternative, I can accept the IOUs, the Federal Reserve notes, the PayPal gifts, the checks, the money orders. Send me an email for particulars. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to like this video on YouTube. Don't forget to click the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified that there's a new upload. And I have a how-to channel that's a subscription channel, but there's no advertising. This is the front page of my YouTube channel. The subscribe button's already clicked, otherwise it'll be red. The bell needs to be clicked for notifications. My YouTube subscription is $4.99 a month. Actually, it's gone up. It's $6.99 a month according to YouTube. They're recommending that. For the videos only, I've made exclusive content available on HowTube. On HowTube, it's $9.99 a month for the videos only, plus unlimited email consultations. I'm not a liar. Well, I'm an attorney. No, I'm not a liar. But I can tell you what I would do under certain circumstances and where to find the forms. People on other previous subscription plans will remain on that plan as long as they renew it. The subscription channels includes unlimited consultations, but that does not include phone calls or babysitting. It doesn't include preparing documents or reviewing documents. The only power that these New World Order Satanists have over us is through fraud and deception, and my agenda is to expose it for all our benefit, but I cannot fight all the battles. I need other people being on point. My HowTube channel is HowTube at Channel Sovereignty International, and I've got over 150 videos on both of those subscription channels. Some of the subscription channels are Arlington Private Information Share, Land Deed Training, Estoppel Certificates Training, Foreclosure Estoppel Certificates Training, Corporate Denial Training, Toll Roads Notice and Demand Training, Invoice Training, Notice of Void Judgment Training, Revocation of Signature Training, Third-Party Witness Training, Federal Habeas Corpus Training, Revocation of Voter Registration, Bar Member Liars, Attorneys, number 4, Criminal Complaint Training, Lawsuit Training, Other Training and Requests. Now, it's got to be within the scope of what the channel's all about, and it's got to be something I haven't already done. All forms, files, or other instructions are available for free in the show notes of my YouTube, on my videos on YouTube and on HowTube. All exclusive content will be on YouTube and on HowTube, and you can buy a subscription there. My contact information, my blog is sovereigntyinternational.wordpress.com. My website is sovereigntyinternational.fyi. My email address is engineerwin@yahoo.com. My YouTube profile, Sovereign Living. My Facebook community page was deleted, and my private group on Facebook is being deleted. I haven't been to Facebook for months, if not years, and so, I'm not interested in going there. That's just a CIA op, is what that is. I've got 2 private groups. One's called, they're both called Administrating Your Public Servants. One's on freelist.org and the other one's on Google. Follow me on Truth Social at Engineer Win. Some of my videos are Bankster Thieves playlist, Roman Cult playlist, Bankrupt Corporate So-Called Governments, Bar Members 1 through 8, Do-It-Yourself How Not to Volunteer for the Selective Service in the Draft, Martial Laws Here, Do-It-Yourself No Income Tax, Do-It-Yourself Free Mail, Do-It-Yourself Kangaroo Courts 1 through 25, Canada Border Pigs playlist, Bar Members and Their Satanic Connections playlist.
Very good with that. Very good.
Ready to get, yeah.
Restroom.
You know,
Internet slow.
yeah. I'm gonna send this off.
Oh, I think his hearing is too long. So it's too. Yeah, Darren. I found his hearing is too long.
I know, right, well.
Yeah. Good.
So.
It's gonna be very exciting.
I think you're right, I think you'll speak at stuff. But then there, where he is gonna find coverage, but very two doesn't be something, you know what? Let's take it, realize that he's what burnt it to be, he can't be.
Rob, they're gonna find you.
You better believe it, come after.
That's okay.
That's all. Yeah. Last week, what the reason for that is? Because the past, no, yes,
Here she comes.
Federal Reserve on his money.
Judy, we have the slides for, well, I'm sorry, it's not opening. We're trying to download them.
It's like when you go to a matching show, that instant, you cannot. Match.
But this is Karen.
That's what we have today. We have a matching show.
Yeah, give it a go and we'll see where we go, and I'll try to do it again. Yeah, so that should open. It says there's an issue with it.
Get open.
No, it says it can't read it.
Okay. Want me to try again?
I emailed the file to Ken.
Why don't you email it directly to Ken, somebody else?
Okay, I didn't know Ken, so okay, if you,
I sent Ken the file you sent me.
Yeah, but do it direct.
if that one's right, let me try this one. So if you just tell me the mail, I'll write the name down. Ken.
Okay, it's N.J.OUIMET at
Okay.
Gmail.
Ken.J.OUIMET@gmail.com. Let's try that. Because it's really important you guys have these data, and because what I have on my screen and behind me here is, that might take a minute, so let's see where it goes. But if you see, I've got the slides, I just cut a lot out of that PowerPoint. But if you see this computer here is a laptop. And if you see all the files, thank you. That's the ones. If you see all the files on the folders, one of the folders says Frank Rossetti laptop number 1, Frank recovered files. Frank Rossetti laptop number 2, recovered files. RFK Jr. recovered files number 1 and 2. This is literally 40 years worth of evidence that that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, because I gave it to them both by way of General Flynn for the Trump and the sons, and Clay Clark, of course, where I'm on every week, and February 9th directly to Tony Lyons, the CEO publisher of Skyhorse. Because what everyone has to know about this is there, and just show it as a show. Don't show everything at once. So we could start from the beginning. It'd be fun if we started with burning questions. Thanks. That's great, because what I'm going to do on this file is I'm going to show you things that relate back in space and time. And I don't care how long it takes. I want to show you, and those slideshows have audio within them. Especially the one, you can see it there. I think the only one I left in there is the audio of Deborah Burks and the audio of Pastor Rob McCoy, and those two things matter. But let's do it in order so that we just sit with, what we're really talking about in the country. And I want to just, since I don't know you, it's been a while since I talked to you guys, as Steve knows. And so let's give it a go to. Yeah.
Okay, everybody, we're gonna get.
Can you show one at a time, just the first slide? Do the presenter view.
It's good, and I'm showing the first slide.
I don't want to see them all at once. The bottom right is a little box that looks like a slideshow. Just click the bottom right thing, and it'll only show you one at a time. I don't want you to see that all at once, because it won't show you. You're going to get confused. So here, I'm just trying to show you that button. It's right down in the bottom right near the little box, and it just has a slide. Or you could go up into the view and ask it to view presenter tools, and it'll do them one slide at a time.
I have it in presenter mode. It's showing the first slide.
Okay, so I can't see that.
It's not showing. Okay.
I only see all of them again. So why don't I see what you're seeing?
Good question. Okay.
This is okay, because it's worth a little bit of time, because and I can certainly do that and keep this out of my brain, because that's perfect. Thank you. That's great. And I'm just going to shut this door, because when I yell at church, the sheepdogs come make sure they ain't killing me.
All right. Good.
Okay.
Okay, Judy, you ready to get started?
Yep. Good morning.
Everybody give a good hand for Judy Mikovits. Okay, we're ready, Judy. It's all yours.
Okay. Yeah. And so, as Ken was saying, thank you. I'm not, you can introduce yourself and introduce the group, but I started with this slide, and my name is actually Judy Nolde, and it has been since October 7th, 2000. And I didn't move from, I commuted back and forth to the National Cancer Institute from basically that time, 1999 through 2004, at which point I had to, the Noldes had to sell their property because 911 crashed the cancer industry. This is and always was 911. 911 was the coup of our country. And the only thing people don't realize is they didn't win. We, the people, won. And that's what we want to spread here, what's happening here, whether it be the diary of Tony Fauci, and I'm sure many of you saw either the highwire.com, and I would encourage you to go to the highwire.com. And you can text to the number 72022, and then in the text box you can write either capital ICAN, Informed Consent Action Network, or you can write donate, should you like to do that. But at any rate, they will send you a text every time the high wire is doing something. So yesterday, the high wire, this is how I work here. I've got 3 computers and a screen that is on a locked network that can't cut me off, which is why I wanted to do this on this Tuesday, so I'd be home, because when I am traveling, as Steve caught up with me a few weeks ago, it's very difficult not to get censored. So I first showed this exact slide, like the plague of the Middle Ages. This is politics. It's not science. And so when we think about science, is God's natural law and nothing else. Gravity is science. Newton, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you repeat that number to text?
72022.
Okay, 72022.
And that's in the text box of your screen, and you will get, in fact, it's on my other phone. I got 2 phones, 2 computers, but it's important because one is a government phone where they're hacking you, and the other is a God phone where they leave you alone at least some of the time.
Text to that number?
Yeah, so if you text to that number, you should get a response pretty quickly. So I've got this phone here. You see yesterday, 72022 yesterday said, okay, watch the download. Yes, sir.
What are we requesting to that number?
You text ICAN, Informed Consent Action Network, in the text box. Informed Consent Action Network. And so yesterday they sent the text at 5:37 last night. The download from Jeffrey Jackson there, that's what you'll see on your screen. And I'm holding that up the best I can here. But you'll see, watch the download, thehighwire.com. So I get my information, from reputable sources. Thehighwire.com is one that we teach here at Godspeak Church every Thursday. And when I say we teach it, we open these things up and we discuss them amongst ourselves. So Jeffrey Jackson is among the best in the world. I first started talking to him probably at the Autism One conferences in 2009 and 10. So I'm giving you ways to find information so you're not sitting on sites that are either semi-fraud, fraud, and outright criminal fraud, or simply mixing up the dates so that you believe a different narrative. And that's probably what I thought would be the best way to discuss today within your groups, because if we wanted to start from right here, what I did with this slide is I made it over again, and the talk was called "Resist the Reset," and I gave it for General Flynn and Clay Clark, June 19th through 21st in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And extremely interesting what happens at these events to, number one, either keep us from talking or shorten the talk or do something else. And I'm thanking God that I'm sitting here in Godspeak Church and Rob McCoy, and everybody, Pastor Micah Stevens, everybody, Pastor James, everybody associated with this church since 2021 and 2020. They're just the heroes, and so the office you see behind me is literally 5 decades worth of not just a paper, not just a copy of a paper, not just a printout of a paper, but the actual copy, literally signed by Harry Reid, the letters. That's what's locked in these office drawers here. You can see not only all the way back to 2014, 2015, 2012, and it's the actual facts. It's the patient numbers, it's the patient data. It's absolutely, we literally shipped. So we shipped at the government's expense. And this is why you want to listen to the books, listen to Plague, Ending Plague, The Case Against the Mask. The book called The Truth About the Mask is Criminal Fraud, by either Kent Heckenlively, who was my lawyer, or Tony Lyons. And both of them participated in the cover-up when they changed the cover and the intention and the data and the pictures in the book of The Case Against the Masks. So we're seeing what you're seeing on these sites, because the Highwire, again, I don't have any money and I pay them. I donate something like $100 a month. And that gets you into all the details, and you don't have to go anywhere to find the exact paper. As I mentioned, Jeffrey Jackson, this group, they have known and have all the data. I was one of the first, along with, and in fact, the Highwire started in a church with Pat and Kat Layton in California. And I won't say exactly where in Southern California, but it's pretty close to Billy DeMoss. I should have worn that shirt today about Billy DeMoss Cal Jam. We had a lot of fun with that in the 80s, but 90s, I'm sorry, 2000s. But at any rate, the point of these books is most of the books that are essentially in any airport right now, in any store right now, it's all just fraud and censorship. So in 2022, I went back to Frederick, Maryland, where I just told you, or I've told you before, or you'll hear it in Ending Plague, you'll hear it in Plague. So we're thinking about Tony Fauci and the pardons that go back to 2014. And the reason I say the pardons that go back to 2014 is there were people in your government, and you can ask those questions and we can go through who they are. But I think it shows it in the talk. So what I teach, because what a scientist has to do is look at absolutely everything, and there are patterns. Your innate immune system recognizes patterns, and there are 4 times more pattern recognition receptors, either danger associated molecular patterns, which is what's going through our phone, what's going through the Leidos machine at the airport. Leidos is a criminal company. They are not the National Cancer Institute. They are a communist country that essentially stole the intellectual property of a company called Science Applications International Corporation. And I have here on my desk somewhere my business card, where in 1999, here it is, my business card, where in 1999 I led the National Cancer Institute by way of Science Application International Corporation, an employee-owned company internationally. I led the lab of antiviral drug mechanisms. It was the contractor for all of not only the NIH, the National Cancer Institute, and everything else. But at the end of the day, in 2001, a year after my marriage, and I left to two small companies, which we'll talk about in California. Doesn't really matter, Epigenics Pharmaceuticals, and what we're trying to do to give you back all the healing, to give the taxpayers back everything. So again, I made this slide over again a month ago. The first time I showed it was at Ramtha, Ramtha, and it's up in Seattle area in Washington. And Ramtha, for those of you who might remember, is something like a 13 or 22 thousand-year-old lizard god. I don't know, but this was a group of people that were literally the first people that invited me up and said, wait a minute, there's something going on here. And we've lived that pattern. We've lived that pattern where they take out a specific culture. And I say culture on purpose, because as my pastor Rob McCoy says, you can live in Japan for 21 years and you'll never be Japanese. You'll never be assimilated into the culture. And it's all about the cultures, as we'll talk about. So the cover, the green cover of the book Plague, is the audible of the book Plague. Why does that matter? Because, again, through either criminal, notice how Kent Heckin Lively took JD off of his name here, and then put JD attorney back on the covers in subsequent issues. And the reason for that is now we're going to have this fabricated attorney-client privilege. So we're talking about Fauci here, and I think for this group, I'd really love to have you ask a few questions while we sit with these books and the dates. So the book Plague, when I got kidnapped and held in a Ventura County jail, where people from Ireland and across the world, that's why I said Science Applications International Corporation, we worked for the federal government as their head contractor around the world. And that means you, the taxpayer, own all of the intellectual property. Tony Fauci doesn't own a single patent. They are all functional forgeries or flat out fraud. And your government knows this. Let them play that they're doing. I mean, Bobby Kennedy and Trump. And I don't mean anybody else, because the pardons only go back to 14. Because what did you know and when did you know it, Rand Paul? What did you know and when did you know it? Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. What did you know and when did you know it? Congressman or senator or anybody else sitting there for 40 years and believing the lie that now the courageous Senator Ron Johnson, and there's another congressman that's doing a great job, Ron Johnson, where he's now gotten people to admit in Congress. So what I listen to every day and what I work on every day, and I'll get the notification from 72022. I'll get the high wire notification. So I want you to notice that in the Plague of Corruption book, you see in the middle of this screen. So I will finish with criminal attorney, not attorney-client privilege, obviously, because I never paid him anything, but he taped every word I said. And the first book, Plague, published November 16, 2014. So I was told when I got out of jail, I couldn't talk to anyone. When I was dumped in a parking lot in Ventura, California, it is the first chapter of Plague opens up November 18, 2011. So all criminal charges, all civil charges, everything will go back to probably November 9th 2011, or November 8th, 2011. And that's why I want to tell you this story, because the book Plague with the red and the white, which is offensive to most people and most people can't see it on the background, in the top right corner it says new material from Judy Mikovits, PhD. That all capitals, that's not a human being. That's a company. That's a business, because my name is Noldy. And when I got dumped out of jail and I couldn't talk to anybody but my husband and my lawyer, and that meant Frank Rossetti, my mentor, who was still at the National Cancer Institute. So I want you to get the audibles of Ending Plague and listen. The audibles of all of these books, from Plandemic to Plague to Ending Plague, the case against the mask you might have to buy for me. All of these books are behind me. In 2022, I went back to the National Cancer Institute for the first time since they murdered my mother, January 22nd, 2019. And I mean murdered my mother. It's called iatrogenic medical mistakes. It's not medical mistakes when you had the knowledge. And this goes to what their big problem is and why Trump wants you to shoot yourself. Because, hey, he's the president for all the people. And if you keep listening to the lies and spreading the lies on X, and you're not sitting where he told you to sit, which is Trump Truth Social, which I can't do because he and I would cuss out too many people together. I can't do Truth Social because it just irritates me. Because he's right. And we the people are stupid. We the people have all the power. They have a really big problem if we don't play their game. And if we're sitting here and we're all looking at Trump's diary, looking at Fauci's diary, if we're all sitting there and you believe that BS narrative, oh yeah, he wrote it down, but he played the exact same cards in 1983. All he wanted to do was be on the Tonight Show. And who was H. Clifford Lane? Notice on Plague of Corruption on April 14th, 2020, know these dates and keep these books behind you. Not one of these books was in a library in the state of Maryland, any library, much less medical school, in 2022. So who are your criminals now? What did you know and when did you know it? I tried to get these books in the library. I tried to get groups like yours. Buy 3 books and fill out a form and put it in a library. How easy is that? How cheap is that? And that's what we're trying to teach you. We're trying to teach you to go fish and get out of their fear porn. The only thing I fear is the Lord Jesus Christ. And it ain't a Mormon. And it ain't an Amish. They stopped at the... I'm saying we're in one nation under God. I'm not judging them. But knowledge, fear of knowledge. Because my mentor is Thomas Jefferson, and he's the scientist. And your founding fathers, Benjamin Rush, is your physician. A doctor is not a physician. A doctor is a teacher. And a physician is an auto mechanic. You don't let a Chevy dealer, a mechanic, work on your Toyota because he has the wrong manual. Well, each human being is sovereign in God's image. And any mechanic on those pages, anybody that claimed to be a doctor or a physician or a healer, the healer is Jesus Christ. And the word trauma in the 1828 Noah Webster's dictionary means wound healing. Well, we can't heal wounds if we never learn the truth. And I'm just showing you that book that on April 14, 2020, it was sitting right there without the seal of Children's Health Defense. which is holding the world. It used to be the World Mercury Project in 2005, when my friend and fellow hero, Sherry Tenpenny, wrote letters for the World Mercury Project. What's going through that needle could be killing you. And I saw that in 2020. So we thank God for, so the other place you'll want to go to your information is Children's Health Defense. And there's a lot of content at these websites. There's 10 tons of content over, it seems like 100 years, on therealdrjudy.com, and hundreds of thousands of dollars secure those documents, just like Mickey Willis, May 4th, 2020, 2 weeks after that book published. When did I start that book? The day I met Brian Hooker, August 29th, 2014. And I guarantee you that the direct emails from the NIH, every one of them covering this up, is in there. And I guarantee you, since I last handed an updated hard drive to both sides of the team, and I believe that both sides know what I'm saying, and they're counting on you, and I'm grateful for you. So I show you that this quote by Thomas Jefferson: if the people let the government decide the foods they eat and what medicines they take, their bodies will soon be in as sorry a state as the souls. The word means life, your soul. It's lost souls we're all about, who live under tyranny. You know, the word immunity in the 1828 Founders Dictionary means freedom from government tyranny. That's it. Doesn't have anything to do with a shot, and never did. And this is the great news of where we are right now. So sure, you can grab some popcorn and watch whatever happens with Tony Fauci's testimony to Rand Paul. And I'll show you in one of these slideshows, I'm going to show you a lens. I try to teach you a lens to look through, because a microscope sees 10 to the minus 3 microbe. A virus is not seen. It blows in the wind. You don't see the wind either. That shout out, a great book, my friend Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer. The book is called Chasing the Wind. And it's really important that we understand what we're doing, and we look and we listen. I don't know if that one's audible or not yet either, but some of these books that we should be reading, we play every week at 4:00 Pacific, Wednesday night. It's on X. You all should be following me on X. You should be following Secretary Kennedy, and you should be following Trump. And you should be following Aaron Siri. His book is called Vaccines, Amen. And you keep all the other people away, and we share each other, and you learn. I play these books, and I'm thinking, because it's Fauci tonight and our Fauci this week, I'm going to go back to ending plague, because this is the first time that Frank Rossetti and Luc Montagnier ever told you exactly what happened. And the reason I'm saying ever is because nobody knew. And by the time Frank Rossetti knew, we knew, everybody knew in this book. He wrote it in the summer of 2020. And it didn't publish for until August of 2021. And Kent Heckenlively is on that book, supposedly as my attorney now, to try and shut me up, because so-called attorney-client privilege. Nope. He committed criminal fraud. And we're going after these folks, because it's the censorship. That book cover should have never been changed in 2017. And that new front material is not in the Audible. And so you're being lied to even in 3 years. And many people don't know that the book Plague opens on November 18th, 2011, when I was kidnapped, J6 style, by the mafia, by actors in police uniform, by Harry Reid's henchmen, literally henchmen, just like J6 in Ventura, California. And Sheriff Dean has an email. And they said, you let our Dr. Judy go. Oh, they dumped me in a parking lot 4 or 5 days later, God only knows, as they spent all they could while I was in the suicide watch so they could watch you commit suicide. And the torture on those pages, every other chapter is a day in jail. And nobody will ever understand the science, because the truth of the science and exactly who did it, the fraudulent journals, the fraudulent companies, the Wellcome Trust, the UK. Oh, John Coffin, you've not heard these names. And they're trying to tell you a different narrative and back this up. And Tony Fauci is playing the same actor that he and Cliff Lane did in 1983 when they did gain of function. Why don't we show you the next slide? Thank you for popping on there and showing us the next slide. Okay. Magic Johnson, magic. It's magic. November 7th, 1991. And I want you to all go back and dig into your ESPN history right around Thanksgiving and watch the colleagues, watch Isaiah Thomas, watch Larry Bird, watch how the people reacted to magic. He's living with the AIDS virus. And I don't care if you share this on whatever you share, airdrop, everyone in this audience can have every one of these slides. And I want you to spread them around. Because the narrative that was told, LAV was what Luc Montagnier isolated in Ending Plague. The second half is my perspective. And and Luke was interviewed by Kent and, as a lawyer style interview, which is why I'm saying Aaron Siri, because all of that information is right here. The actual hard copy of the interview, so the quotes can never change. Kent Heckenlively is also a 6th grade science teacher. And so he's a 6th grade science teacher in Northern California. His motives were good. His intentions were good. He has a severely vaccine injured child. Listen to chapter 5 of Plague. Just listen to chapter 5 of Plague and it'll show you, oh, I didn't get that shot. Sure you did. Since 1934. Get over it. Since 1934. And Ron Johnson told you that. So they've had gain of function. They have mRNA since, 1984. So they thought they could get away with spreading it through the gay communities. And this is what Tony Fauci said, that the only people who could get HIV and therefore AIDS, that subtitle says he's living with the AIDS virus, and science is offering new hope. Well, wait a minute. A week later, I defended my PhD thesis at the George Washington University Department of Biochemistry and Molecular Biology under Dr. Goldstein. And, that was the key. What was the expertise in that lab? Peptides, thymosin alpha-1 peptide T. Oh, you mean Candace Pert and her peptide T? Yup, Candace Pert. Oh, do you think they gave that to Magic Johnson? Who knows? We'll never know because they never gave him another shot. And we've got oral forms of the peptides, and those are the vaccines that Trump's telling you we've got and we've had in the freezer. And this is a very important slide because the movie is called The Band Played On. And I'd love you to watch it. If it's on Netflix and it's not censored, there's something that's not true that they want you to believe. It's tell-lie vision. So it's telling a lie, but Job 6:1. Satan's got to tell you the truth. Oh, so Tony Fauci didn't lie when he said the only people that could get HIV and therefore AIDS were gay men, IV drug users, and prostitutes. How's the virus know if you're standing up, sitting down, you're a prostitute, a gay man? How would I know that? And you know, these 7-foot tall basketball players are at risk because the virus never gets that low in the chair. Not Greg Gutfeld. Just kidding. You know, my PhD thesis. November 14th, 1991, right in the middle of Washington, D.C., 10 o'clock in the morning, literally a week later, new and science is offering new hope for others. That's a bit of a problem because a student doesn't get their PhD, which they submit at George Washington University, peptide T, thymosin alpha-1 thymosin. Peptides aren't new, folks, and please don't inject anything. I'm just going to keep saying it so these little cottage edges industries and these fads don't catch the American people now the way they caught them then in 1984. We don't have to relive 1984, folks, and I think there's a book like that. So his first gain of function was 1984. We have absolute proof, Matt Gonda. Absolute proof. That picture in the middle of that is a synthetic virus. That's not the EM that came from Luc Montagnier's and gay-related immune deficiency. Does that man look gay? Oh, was his engaged wife Cookie? Was Cookie a prostitute? No. Oh, are you implying that when he's on the road, he's playing Bill Clinton? Yeah, no. That doesn't work either. By the way, HIV was in the saliva, and I'm the one that isolated it. So when Bill Clinton said you can't get it that way, I'm just going to tell you, the condom worked exactly as well as the mask. It spread the disease. So the mask spread what's called common variable immune deficiency, COVID, a common and variable. And then it was only AIDS, acquired. How did they acquire it? The hepatitis B vaccine. Why did your military and your athletes have to get shot? Why? Explain that to me. You know, why are we dabbling their blood up on the basketball court and we're all wearing gloves? Yeah, you want AIDS, wear latex gloves or every other glove. Take the gloves off, literally and figuratively. Take the gloves off and use your brain. November 14th, 1991. Oh, that new science. Oh, so they put it on the cover. I submitted it September 6th and 7th. September 6th was a Friday in 1991. Go look it up. And I submitted it. And the professors had on my thesis committee, as well as internally within the university, had 3 months to read it. And when I walked in that door at 10 o'clock in the morning with the USA Today splashed with everything else splashed with magic, I'm thinking the same thing everybody else is thinking, but in a really different way. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. And then I'm thinking, so the first and only question they asked me is based on your thesis, and it's in this room somewhere. Thank God for Frank Rossetti. It's in this room somewhere. We didn't have the internet then. We only had hard copies. They did everything they could. Thank God for Frank Rossetti. He saved every piece of everything, and it almost cost him his life. It cost him a broken neck in 2 places. It did cost Luc Montagnier's life. He was murdered on February 8th, 2022. Absolute fact. Anyway, and the late, great Candace Pert, who tried all the way up until the day she died. It wasn't the Dallas Buyers, folks. Oh, Candace Pert died in 2013. Never did peptide T come to market, even though it could stop every one of these diabetic retinopathies, any one of these eye disease, any one of these things, stem cells. Which stem cells? Yeah, that's what Frank Rossetti won the 1992 Distinguished Silver Medal. Please get the book, Ending Plague. Read it and listen to it because it matters. And then look at the pictures in the middle of the book, because Skyhorse, and I don't care whether it was Kent Hecken Lively or Tony Lyons, they have committed criminal fraud in changing those book covers, in changing the content, putting me at risk, getting my husband and daughter-in-law literally murdered. Standard vaccines increase HIV-1 transcription during antiretroviral therapy. 24 of September 2016. Do you think they knew? They thought Hillary was going to win. They thought they were going to get away with murder. I hope it's on the next slide, but show the next slide. There you are. I hope this is on everybody's X face all day long, and I hope everybody looks what is absolute fact in a publication. December 11th in the center, the Clinical Center News. I thought originally it was the CDC News. I was corrected by a dear friend. In this issue, they're talking to this, but I want to read this. You're at the NIH Criminal Center. It's November 8th, 2011. That's a Tuesday. And you've got Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, fourth from the left. Then you've got the head of the clinical center, this criminal named John Gallen. You've got this Volkov, some Russian. She's head of NIDA, that's drug enforcement or something like that. And Harold Varmus. He got the Nobel Prize for oncogenes. God didn't make cancer-causing gene. No such thing as an oncogene. Your X chromosome is your protection from any virus. It's your mRNA. It's your message sending your fire trucks to the fire. Okay, so she's right there, and she's in, she's right there, and she's, under the caption under the picture tells you that from left, that's John Gallen, Volkov, Harold Varmus. Why is Harold Varmus there in 2011 when in 1999, after he won the Nobel Prize for oncogenes, not a thing. God didn't make cancer-causing genes, not a thing. And then what he did was he started the xenotransplantation program. Why don't I just call it the vaccination program? In NIH, there he is, Harold Varmus. When you go into jail, give the prize back to the people. They earned it. Hillary Clinton, obviously, Secretary of State. Tony Fauci, okay, he's in the picture. Do we need to spend any more time with his diary? He stood there and he told you exactly what he was going to do under the direction of who was supposed to be president in 2016. One of the things that has to change is the fiscal year of the federal government cannot start on October 1st. And the election, November, because they've already got all your money and they get all those grants approved and they put every publication out in September to create more fear porn. So they put everything out there so they can, the flu virus, out come the pumpkins and out come the flu vaccines and we all can't go to vote. I'm just telling you what you already know and what you lived. But I'm just going to read this because it pisses me off. Sorry. Look at the date. Okay, so I showed you the last slide. Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton called for a renewed push for an AIDS-free generation. Does Magic Johnson look like he has AIDS? Last I saw, he just won the second World Series. I'd love to have a ticket someday because you keep your innate immune system healthy and you don't have to think about a thing other than eating real food, and we'll show you that. Okay, so Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton called for a renewed push for an AIDS-free generation. Notice she didn't say HIV, and it matters. In November's speech in the Clinical Center's Mazer Auditorium, marking 30 years of the fight against HIV/AIDS. No, wait a minute. On the last slide I just showed you, we stopped it right then and there with science, real science that you paid for, that your National Cancer Institute, that your Frank Rossetti, listen to Bruce Lipton, every one of them. I was just the technician learning, and then I started graduate school in 1988. When they said, it's bystander effects, because the T cells weren't dying, the adaptive immune response wasn't dying, the B cells just weren't sending the messages to the T cells. They couldn't get the mRNA that was them. All they got was monkey, mouse, cow, aborted fetal tissue. Okay, AIDS-free generation, marking 30 years of the fight against HIV/AIDS. Ain't none of us fighting, folks. We're all healed. Nobody got AIDS. Unless they injected it. How did Magda Johnson get it? Hepatitis B vaccine. How'd they stop it? Trump stopped it. No more hepatitis B vaccine at birth. We're trying here. Does hepatitis, these kids aren't going to drop. These kids aren't having sex on the first day of life, unprotected sex, and you don't want to protect sex anyway, because nothing about the condom was anything other than driving AIDS, and they knew it. Anyway, the goal of the AIDS-free generation is ambitious, but it's possible, Clinton said. Oh, ambitious, but it's possible, Clinton said, emphasizing the use of scientific advances to stem the pandemic. Did you ever hear the word pandemic with HIV? Certainly not in 2011. Did you hear it? No. We need to let science, not these science. She didn't say Tony Fauci, not these science. We need to let science guide our efforts, she told the packed crowd. And I want you to hear, I've been in this auditorium too many times, and that seats at least 600 people, give or take. Here, she told a packed crowd of scientists, administrators, and State Department and Department of Health and Human Services officials. Clinton emphasized, did she say doctors? Nope. Did she say ask your provider? Nope. Did she say your coach? No, I don't need a coach to coach me to cancer death. We can do that all on our own if we just take their shots and drink their poison. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, folks. Clinton emphasized using a variety of tools in a combination prevention strategy as the most effective way to combat HIV/AIDS nationally and globally. Oh, globally. UK, Wellcome Trust. You know how many head of cattle they had to destroy in the UK? When somebody they were experimenting on, Jesse was his first name, and he got mad cow disease. Why do you think the cow's mad? I'm sorry, that wasn't funny. A combination strategy is the most effective way to combat HIV/AIDS nationally and globally, with a focus on 3 key interventions. Ending mother-to-child transmission. There was none. There never was any. I'm sorry. It's not the prostitutes. It's not the drug users. Oh, it's in utero, folks. It's the poison food. We'll get there. Ending mother-to-child transmission, because what you're injecting is sterilizing, by the way. And in vitro fertilization is murder. Sorry, all the, I don't care who you are, that you think somehow if you poisoned yourself for 40 years, God's going to bless you. He may, and give you the ability to have children back if you repent and never do it again. Okay, so ending expanding voluntary male, medical male circumcision. Okay, any of you men out in the audience of volunteering to get circumcised today? And there's no such thing as medical cut off parts. We ain't Jewish and we don't cut body parts. Oh, voluntary. Is a day-old baby a volunteer? Just asking. Did anybody give the parents informed consent? Watch the movie Protocol 7. Protocol7.com. You'll find it. I'm trying to educate you so you're not wasting your time in the soap opera of the narrative they're trying to tell you, other than to have popcorn in the end of the night, whatever gummy you got going, and enjoy the ride, because we've already won this, and all we the people need to do is walk away from their institutions, because we didn't agree to be institutionalized, and we didn't agree to give up our sovereign rights given only by God to take care of my X chromosomes exactly as I intend, according to my grandmothers and grandfathers, of course. Expanding voluntary medical male circumcision. This is so that they can chemically castrate your girls and your boys, and it's called the vitamin K shot. Well, vitamin K you make vitamin K at day 8. You get it from bee pollen, folks. You don't inject it. You don't inject anything. You don't take it. And oh, by the way, if you've injected synthetic vitamin K along with 200 and upwards microgram of aluminum, you'll begin to destroy the X chromosomes responses to environment, which is what their job is. Okay, and the last one was scaling up the treatment of people living with HIV/AIDS. Oh, you're going to kill Magic Johnson now? It's only been 40 years. Okay, how are you going to scale up the treatment? Are you going to give them 10 times the dose of Biktarvy? Are you going to give them the wrong dose in the wrong person at the wrong time at 10 times the dose? Are you going to make Medicare and Medicaid pay for it? Are you going to test people positive or test people for HIV? Do it. Test for HIV. Do not test for TB. They're bringing back TB tests. You know why? Because that's what George the Lesser did. That's what George Bush the Lesser did. Oh, in the middle of the whole corruption of Hillary. So he failed in public health and let something that had been eradicated in our country come back. And it was the parasite involved with HIV. So you're going to get there with your parasite cleanses, folks? No, you're not. And by the way, the disease is called consumption, and you consume yourself. You eat yourself up. Okay, so that's what she's going to do. She's going to kill everybody they injected by way of the hepatitis B vaccine since 1991 when they made it. Now it's recombinant. 1991, it was pooled human serum. They took all those gay people, IV drug users. They never stopped blood donation. They took all those people, said the moms were crazy with their kids sick, and they just allowed the XMRVs into the blood supply. And I left the green on this slide because Bobby Kennedy saw this slide on October 12, 2019 at the Truth About Cancer, when a very detailed PowerPoint showing all of this in the level of the journals is called Persecution and Cover-Up. Thank you, Charlene Bollinger. What a sweet. I wanted to just talk about healing with cannabis. I still just want to talk about healing, but you folks have to understand, or we can never heal our land, because we're one nation under God. That's why 2 Chronicles 7:14. Why did Hillary have to do this in 2011? Why did I have to die? Why did I have to be Epstein's? Why did I have to be silenced? because in 1991, 1 million Americans were infected with HIV. In 2010, a year after our papers came out, 10 to 25 million Americans, HIV is synthetic or manufactured. So that's what the capital M means. Until it's recombinant, made out of a machine, it's not synthetic. It is, and that's the point at which, whether it came from which man, which variant, which clade of these recombinants did we make directly in the humans that were given AIDS, and then their innate immune system subsequently with subsequent infections. That's why I showed you on the last slide that 2016 paper. So now they told everybody right before the election that any vaccine, any needle, will increase the transcription. It is written, mRNA, the central dogma of molecular biology, my PhD. It is written from the DNA, from the code, from the chromosomes, not from your genes. You're not just DNA floating through the air. Your God's not stupid. Sorry. But 1 million Americans were infected with HIV, and they have to pay for it. Between 2010, 10 to 25 million Americans were infected with XMRVs. Lest you think it's only the prescription drugs, I got fenbendazole, you name the drug, I got it in here. And all the well-meaning, willfully ignorant doctors and people and coaches and practitioners who've never heard this and are using 10 times a dose. The reason I got these bottles, because I put 5 of them in an envelope and I give them to you and I declare you immunized from the strain du jour, and I guarantee you will neither spread virus. That's what the TV commercial. This is on TV every single night. Watch Fox News. They're telling you that what we're doing is going to save and heal our land at the same time. So Hillary tells you none of these interventions, they're going to intervene, all right, can create an AIDS-free generation by itself. That means acquired immune deficiency. The virus is not the disease. And here we just show you that now Children's Health Defense is on November 9th, 2011. Why did plague start November 18th when they attempted to Epstein me in the Ventura County jail and wherever else they took me? Sheriff Dean, I think maybe you'll know these some money. This is the problem. How are we going to ever get due process if we, the people, can't forgive ourselves and forgive each other? I forgive him. I want an apology. And yeah, there's some things you have to do to fix what was stolen from the Noldies. We can never get our families back, any of us. But we can all be healed. And the government can give us this, like I give it to you, at not 20 times the cost. Medicare, Medicaid, quit Medicare. Opt out. You didn't earn it. It's not in Social Security. They cannot take it from you. You have to fight hard, but I will never pay into a system that murders little black children. And that includes Kaiser or anybody else, any little children. They're killing our children. And now they got a little problem because they didn't die when they got the neuroimmune disease. These autistic kids, what are their parents worried about? Andy Wakefield. They're worried about what are they going to do when their kids can't live on their own and nobody can take care of them. That's what they're worried about. This is why the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. Barbara Lowe Fisher and Michael R. Hugo, one of my fun lawyers, good guy. All of these guys are good guys. They just need you to help them get out of their own way so they don't get captured. And their family killed. I mean, Kent Heckenlively has that same problem. His daughter's 26 years old, and she screams all night long, every night. I get that. And so when they're coming after your family or your money, so you can't take care of your family, and then we're going to have some problems, and we don't want those problems. We want to win in love. Okay, 10 to 25 million Americans were infected with XMRVs. which likely got into humans via contaminated blood supply. That mugshot's no more than a mugshot that Trump had. Yeah, my hair is perfectly clean. After 5 days, listen to the book Plague. 5 days on the floor, treated like an animal. Thank God skunks smell bad. And they said, I don't know what that smell is. Well, you took me out of my house after I finished a run. Thank God for Mrs. Olson's in Oxnard, California, because they got to pay for it. Next slide. They've got to pay you. How much are they going to pay you? Can we limit the liability? Can we take the healing and say, we just want, if you could show the next slide, can we just take the healing and take everything we've learned? Because this is critically important. HIV is to AIDS as XMRV, SARS-CoV-2. It's right in the bottom corner of this slide. Retroviruses, pseudotype. That means you put a different hat. Spike lipoprotein, a spike peptide. It's not a protein until they snap it together. It's recombinant. It recombines. Okay, so they put a different hat. Pseudotyped with SARS, severe acute respiratory. Notice how they spell it out when they don't want you to see it. Oh, so don't talk in acronyms anymore. Use your words. Retroviruses, pseudotype, different hats on a different kind of gut. On a severe acute respiratory syndrome, spike number 1, efficiently infect cells expressing angiotensin converting enzyme 2. Oh, now we just say ACE. Know what it means and know what your angiotensin, your tensions on your, you don't have to know this, but what you do have to know is none of those guys was in Wuhan. And that's why I only showed you the picture. Oh, May. So they got it in May. Why was it published in September? Because nothing happens in the summer. These guys are hedging their bets. So they can, if they don't win the election with their little stealing games, the little voter fraud, they'll just get it this way. And who are these guys? Michael J. Moore, partners at the AIDS Research Center, Aaron Diamond, Brigham Women's in Boston. Oh, wait a minute, in New York. Oh, wait a minute, in China, but it says Beijing. And in Berlin, Germany. It's a China virus. Trump keeps trying to tell you. Notice he doesn't say Wuhan virus. Fauci shipped it to Wuhan in 2015. Let's see if we can find it in his diaries. I have a whole bunch of diaries here, and I guarantee you, they know. It's all of it is scanned and on that drive, on those drives that I believe that Trump and Kennedy are playing perfectly, and that's my belief system. So anyway, so they do it in May. Everybody goes on, all professors and most professors go on sabbaticals in the summer. We go to colleges where the kids aren't there. We make up our course plans for the next year. We teach what we teach. We take a look at all the new literature. And if you're an editor of journals, like many of us old people were, then you're holding these things. And that's why we submitted our paper on May 6th. 2009 to the 3 reviewers, John Coffin, Tufts University, special volunteer, why don't I call him Doge, at the AIDS Drug Resistance Program at Fort Detrick. AIDS Drug Resistance Program since 1975. Who's guilty? Oh, I'm on the other side of Fort Detrick's baseball field. I'm on the other side leading the SAIC lab of antiviral drug mechanisms. Oh, you mean I'm showing how your own body with the appropriate nutrients from food can actually send the fire trucks to the fire and there's actually water in the fire hydrants when they get there? Yeah, we could do that. That was what my PhD thesis said. Doesn't mean it's easy. Doesn't mean people don't get sick. But do you develop immunity if immunized appropriately? Yep. And that's what we're doing now. So it doesn't matter what they created. There's nothing new under the sun, and there's no weapon formed against us. So I am showing you an email that I wrote, and Frank helped me a lot, on August 31st, 2011. Why? Because I was on the phone. I wrote this email, and then the next day was on the phone. And what the SRWG, so you won't know it's a blood working group, designed to see if we have a PCR test that will detect all the variants of HIV and sort them out. And I said all the variants of XMRV from our 2009 paper, submitted May 6th, published October 8th. Did they hold that to the flu season? And what did they give you then? H1N1. Oh, you're going to cover it up, and nobody sees the journal. Everybody's a little busy. Everybody's flooding into their doctor's office and killing themselves, believing the narrative. And so we were told this was Labor Day weekend in 2011, and I was home in the Channel Islands Harbor, and I got a phone call. Simone Glenn headed the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute of the NIH. You could see it right there. And she's criminally liable. We can get them off this, and I'm just going to tell you more. That's impossible. And what they wanted me to do was take the manuscript over the holiday, read it, and approve it for publication to be published at the international in Ottawa at the International Association of Chronic Fatigue Syndrome, which should be called myalgic encephalomyelitis, inflammation of the brain and spinal cord. By the way, now they changed that to multiple sclerosis is inflammation of the spinal cord alone and the degradation of the spinal cord and your insulation, so you spark out and it's hard to walk, and it's relapsing and remitting because the insult's coming through the air or the 5G tower. This is Leidos. When I do this, if any human being on this planet goes through that Leidos machine to get in an airport, well, they should be shot. I mean shot, because that's what you're getting. You're getting shot with the wireless that's no more deadly than your cell phone. Look at how we just poisoned our kids. And activated the latent dormant viruses. Oh, SARS-CoV-2. Oh, how about the one that makes you fall down? Chronic fatigue syndrome makes you angry. They call it Lyme disease. That's the Borrelia burgdorferi weaponized to pair with the XMRV with the G protein called 15, which you might as well call it HIV-2. But it's not HIV-2, the virus HIV-2. It's the sensor in the surface of the cell that teaches you loss of taste and smell. You have to smell the swamp. You have to smell the swamp. You have to taste or you won't eat, and you end up like an AIDS patient. Our kids are poisoned to death, and I'll show you. Okay, so I said, and I said no in writing, because that's what you do. So that's impossible. I have institutional review board protected data, meaning they can't know what I just showed you. They can't know which number is which human being who has which strain of virus, which person is that, and what is the PCR that will actually activate that. Oh, and they published it in the literature in 2017. XMRV and public health. The retroviral genome is not a suitable template for diagnostic PCR. Oh, it says right there, if you've got 2 retroviruses in there, you can't use PCR, because if they're latent and they're all wrapped around with insulation on your X chromosomes, your DNA methylation, my PhD thesis, it's epigenetics. It's the expression of the virus, not the presence of the virus. Anyway, I have IRB Act protected data that I can't not even access until the 6th of September. I was at this meeting in Ottawa on September 21st, where the journal Science put a marker that said false positive on a t-shirt for somebody who the Whittemores, Annette Whittemore, Harvey Whittemore, through their company called Viral Immune Pathologies DX. Now God only knows what it's called. It was Red Labs once, because yeah, it's Red Labs. It was Belgium, and it was corruption, and it was Chinese. I mean, I don't know what else to say to you if you folks keep listening to the bullshit. I told that to Graham yesterday, and he indicated that that was fine. Given the complexities and limitations of the study, many of which were not recognized at the time of the flawed experimental design, we needed a PCR test to test the blood supply. And you don't have one because the latent genomes, because they're X, because they're foreign, when you activate them, when you inject them, and your X chromosome, you're not manufactured, your mRNA, according to God, is sending your protection, your antivirome for the X chromosomes to kill, to destroy any, the word virus means poison, by yourself. If you drink Drano, you dilute it, you don't vomit it. You don't take Prilosec or Protonex, so you never feel anything in your throat. And then you die of throat cancer. It's not turbo cancer, folks. It's stupidity and criminality, which were not recognized at the time the flawed experimental design was agreed upon. To have one day to agree upon a manuscript and a holiday at that. They always do it on holidays. July 4th, Labor Day, Memorial Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. That's where your government corruption unleashes the stuff that you're not reading then when you're trying to be home with your families as you should be. And this is not good science or the appropriate process. What's the rush? Afraid of the truth? How many of these viruses were introduced into the human population and are now threatening a lot more than the blood supply? Because a few declared it impossible 40 years ago. And JC, and I don't mean Jesus Christ, the man's name is John Coffin, and he said it. And he did it through the journal Science, the journal Nature, the Elsevier journals. Everything is propaganda. How many XMRVs? I'm sending these only to Simone and Frank, because I will make this rush a public relations nightmare for the entire U.S. government. It only took me 20 years. I'm sorry. I apologize. For the entire, I have integration data and variants of many new strains. Did those arrogant SOBs, and that's what I meant, introduce these into humans and are now trying to cover it up? And then pedigree the negatives with a test cutoff so high that it would not find a willing Roman in a whorehouse. Remember, no prostitute is willing in the oldest profession. Willing Roman in a whorehouse. Roman, who destroyed our government and our church. Anyway, that's my opinion, and I'll keep it. And pedigree the negative. So what happened? What happened in what that means with a cutoff so high it wouldn't find a willing Roman in a whorehouse? Everybody was negative. Oh, how interesting. And every one of those people were positive in 2020. And you took the Q-tip up your nose. That's rape. Doesn't have anything to, oh, I didn't get the show. Oh, yeah. You were trying to find an easy way out rather than defend the Constitution or the United States of America or your communities or your children or your grandchildren. The first, I said, wonder if anybody will listen to a press conference from me. Of course, they haven't because I'm censored. Asking how many new recombinants from vaccines, from lab workers, doctors, the first ever contagious human retrovirus spread like mycoplasma and mold. It's not the mold, folks. It's not the mycotoxins. It's what's in the shots. It's not the Lymes when you don't see the bullseye rash. It was because it was injected, and it always was. It always was infection by injection. Ron Johnson told you that. It happened once. How many xenograft cell lines? Oh, that's when they take your cancer tumor and they put that on mice and they combined them together, and then they made a humanized monoclonal antibody. Once they got the recombinant, they changed the mouse sequences so that they could add just a little bit. And I do this for a living. I did it. It's in our book, Ending Plague, for Johns Hopkins, page 160, when I got in the time after my PhD thesis in the 90s. Spread like mycoplasma. Are you kidding me? It happened once. How many xenograft cell lines were created? How many vaccines contain mouse tissue? Mouse tissue. All of them. All. How many is all? All. These sick people lost their entire lives, and this travesty of justice will not be carried out at their expense. And I say not again, because I mean not again, but that's not up to me. It's up to God. I pray this every single day. If we have to write and publish online a dissenting opinion, we will, and I will not co-author any paper that misrepresents our findings, nor will our data be included. You could simply say we all found nothing, totally unexpected, and we'll prove them all wrong. Totally expected. Well, you found nothing. You can all go home, folks. There's nothing to see. Anyway, nothing about the data say anything about Low et al.'s publications showing you this non-HIV AIDS all the way back to, and this is Harvey Alter, who got a Nobel Prize for retracting his data. Fine, he's an old man. And if this rushed to print without a fair and balanced discussion of its limitations, I will spend every minute of my life exposing the fraud that it's been perpetrated against this patient population. And if you can hit the button and play, this is Deborah Birx on Cuomo. Somebody find me that News Nation. Find me the exact date. I know it was 2023. Find me the exact date when they're killing all the chickens and they murdered all the ostriches in Canada. They're destroying our food supply. So we can't go to the Clay Clark in Michigan. I played this first at the Clay Clark in Michigan. They're in the fall of 2023. And so if you hit the button, it says it'll play the audio of how COVID is similar to HIV. No, COVID is similar to AIDS. SARS-CoV-2, bottom right corner publication, is HIV. It is 1/3 of the spike protein. The other one is the XMRV syncytin implantation. That's how we're going to sterilize. That's how we're going to end mother-to-child transmission. Anyway, so if you can't play it or if you fell asleep, I can take questions and we'll.
I don't see a button to press play.
You just hit the button on hover the thing over the screen and it'll just hit the next when you move the slide forward. There you go.
HIV is important is because HIV was also asymptomatic. I mean, you couldn't see the virus through symptoms because people were infected for 7, 8, 9 years before they developed symptoms. But HIV quietly destroyed our immune system. And we learned a lot about immunology from HIV, and it's changed completely our cancer therapy. We're learning now about mitochondria and viral impact and brain fog and the changes in our neurons and the cells that nourish our neurons that really allow us to think and move. And we're learning that because what of long COVID has done. And so there's two sides of this coin every time. There's a lot of destruction that mild and moderate COVID can do that is on scene, just like HIV was destroying our immune system. But what came out of that is brilliant science that changed how we treated HIV. And if you're diagnosed today, you can live a very normal lifespan and people not only survive but thrive. We need to get to the place where people with long COVID, we've done the research so that people with long COVID can not only survive but thrive.
Who is
Comparison to HIV.
Who is that? That's Deborah Birx, who stood next to Trump and lied. Oh, so we learned a lot about cancer therapy that nourish our neurons, that nourish the this, the that. Yeah, scientists at sea. What was my interview on November 9th, 2011? Patrick Song-Shong. Oh, so the Chinese stole the intellectual property of 45 years of the National Cancer Institute's work. It's closer to 50 now, to tell you the truth. 1976, it is 50. Huh, oh yeah, and we just sit here and let it happen. Yeah, oh, and we learned everything about and long COVID is now called, it's myalgic encephalomyelitis that was bastardized as chronic fatigue syndrome. That is called Lyme disease, which is just total. It's not BS. Oh yeah, we know how to deal with the sensors on the surface of the cell. We know what the parasites are. Parasites, anything that robs oxygen. That's a parasite. Deborah Burks is a parasite. Oh, why is she talking to this guy, Cuomo? Why is she talking to him in the middle of 2023? On MS Crime BC or whatever they call it, because and we learned a lot about the immunology. And so now, Hillary just told you in 2011 that the HIV AIDS patients are a pandemic and we're going to ramp up our treatment of them. Oh, so now you got HIV and SARS-CoV-2. It's been injected in every flu shot and every polio shot since 2004 when they made it. Fall of 2004, October. Oh, what happened in 2004? Oh, that was kind of when they took over after 911 destroyed the cancer industry. That's when all of our grants and contracts would have been settled at Epigenics. That's when everything would have been legal. 2 years later, everything would have been funded. 2 years later, on the backs of pretty much 8 families across Canada and China, we co-founded, built the building called the Neuroimmune Institute in Reno, Nevada, later changed to the WPI. We submitted a grant called an INIP, and we have that on our website, the Integrated Neuroimmune Program. And the samples used in that program and who applied for that grant from 2 people, intramural integrative, from the National Institute of Aging and the National Cancer Institute. Thank God for Dennis Taub. 2004, he did multiple sclerosis. He did the inflammatory signature of multiple sclerosis. It's published in Nature and it's published in that PowerPoint. Now you just changed it all to CIDP. You made a multiple single target monoclonal antibody. Trump said in his when he signed an executive order in September 19th of 2019, before Bobby saw that PowerPoint at this PowerPoint at the Truth About Cancer. The email was in it. Obviously her picture wasn't in 2019, and we didn't have the Moore paper at all because I didn't have my computer files back yet. Because they were held in jail for a really long time. I just got them in 2024. That's why I'm showing these things now, because I knew what I did and I have that memory, but I didn't know the rest of it. So you can go to the next slide, because this is what they're afraid of, all in all. And I won't keep it very longer, and I'll let you, because you can go ahead and play Pastor Rob. And this is what the key to everything is our endeavor to unify.
And by the way, there's no such thing as an autoimmune disease. The body doesn't attack itself. You've introduced something into the body that's teaching it to kill itself, i.e., anyone? When did we get peanut allergies? America was built on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Now you can't even have peanuts on an airplane because somebody's going to die of, anaphylactic. And where did that come from? Who introduced that? How did that happen in our culture? The body, and they call it healthcare. We've never been sicker in all of our lives. And now they're introducing strains of a virus Why are they doing that? Why are we using government dollars to allow them to create things that kill us?
And go find that sermon, because it's called Endeavor to Unify. It's in 2023. And I guarantee you, before Deborah Birx went on TV and television and told you the lie she wanted you to believe. Because when Pastor Rob was listening to me do this over and over again in 2020 and show him every asterisk was a poison, every asterisk was a different strain of virus or poison, and the microbes that metabolize your food and how they did that, and we'll show you in a minute. So he's looking at his phone, and I think he's just being ADHD, which he does a lot, but anyway, I do it too. Because nobody will ever listen to us. So when we get a chance like this and we can show very slowly what's going on, and you can spread it around the country, I don't care. This is yours. Do whatever you want. I have every single piece of paper. I'll send you these things. I'll put it in the show notes. It's everywhere I can do. I'll show you the actual pictures. I'll talk about the INIP. I'll show you the bench to bedside. We literally, right then and there, we applied in 2010 when our paper came out in 2009. And I say this with a bit of sadness, but God knew this, and now we have the opportunity to go back there and hit everything. He said to me, Judy, he said, do you know the subtitle of Darwin's thesis? And I'm thinking, okay, the origin of the species, natural selection, which implies science, implies God. No, it's a cult, scientism. He said, how did that happen in our culture? They're all cults. Or the preservation of, that's what he said was, no, here it is, from that place in Texas that flooded. They got the papers out. We've got to get these papers, and we've got to secure these things so that they can't rewrite history on the internet and let AI give us. It's artificial by definition. It's not God. Don't look at it. I mean, look at it to tell you what the lie is, and you can learn it quicker and you can help yourself quicker. No, the subtitle of Darwin's thesis is "Or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life." If you knew Genesis in the Bible, you know there is no favored race. It's not a human race. It's humans made in God's image. God, his image, man and woman. Pastor Rick, woman from the rib, not from the liver, from the rib. Anyway, bone marrow. Anyway, different kinds of cancers, man, fully mature in the garden. Pastor Rick, Day Spring Church in Eagle, Idaho, listened to a sermon from a couple of weeks ago, Genesis. So the New York Times best-selling book, Frank's subtitle is "A Scholar's Obligation in an Age of Corruption." I made you a promise. I'm a scholar. I'm a PhD. And I promised you in 2011, I'm going to do everything I can to teach this better, and I am. So the next slide will show you that there's no such thing as an autoimmune disease. It's the X chromosome. There's no such thing as autoinflammatory. You don't chew apart your own ribs. You don't have to play that again. But the next slide then. And it's vaccine AIDS, and it's COVID-19, CVID, common variable immune deficiency. And here's where we're going. So the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. So when I was at the ACIP meeting on February 27th and 28th, the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, where we were held under sniffing dogs and gunpoint by these, we need to end the ACIP. Oh, well, I go and I take notes on every single thing I possibly could do. And I heard him say, if you didn't get a chance to speak, of course, I wasn't going to get 3 minutes or 3 seconds anywhere. You could write it down. And as long as it was submitted while the window was open, the 48 hours of the meeting, then it's in press. It goes into the notes of that meeting. Well, that's how, interestingly, Tony Fauci was sitting in front of Rand Paul. Go look at February 27, 2019, and lying that the measles vaccine didn't cause encephalitis. It's right there on the package insert. Package insert has to say the possible things. Package insert. Your doctor has to know this. Oh, your doctor doesn't have to know that because he's not liable. The 1986 Act. 1986, theact.com. So why did the compensation program matter? Because before Barbara Mikulski or whoever those idiots were in Maryland that led the HHS, and she's not even a useful idiot. Watch that movie and see if you don't vomit. 1986theact.com. That's where you'll find it. You'll find Michael R. Hugo, and he's much more garden than he usually is. He's usually very funny. But right there, they're trying to pass a Japanese encephalitis vaccine. Oh, cause inflammation of the brain. Not one case of Japanese encephalitis in the world. And they're going to do this. And this Dr. Nair, N-A-I-R, who's in a military uniform. No, our CDC is a criminal organization. Military Against Americans. It says he described the vaccine injury compensation program is that the claims are few and far between true. It has a table listing the injuries that come from that shop. They were called table injuries, and conditions that could be immediately funded, like dermatitis. Anyone? Dermatitis? Immediately funded and seen as a vaccine injury. No such thing as atopic dermatitis. All those, every one of these Dupixent, every one of these coughs, every one of these things. But so they didn't have very many, few and far between. They only had 6,000 claims, 70% were dismissed. That criminality of that court. And I'm telling you where I'm going with this because I'm going to give you information. And so then the New York Times, June 18th. Oh, good, right before the summer. So in February, the ACIP, as you watched them this year, again, Robert Malone, criminal fraud. Oh, he led that committee, and the only thing that went through was the RSV vaccine that is now killing our seniors and all our foster children and all our adopted children. Oh, and it's right there in the universal flu vaccine because now we can't make anything in chicken eggs anymore because your chickens are all contaminated and they killed them, and that's what Deborah Birx was telling you. Oh, so now did he do anything wrong? No, the warp speed, getting this information out there, having those 40,000 people appear instead of dribbling out in this criminal court over these 12 years. But then Frank Rossetti and Judy Mikovits, the book is called In Plague of Corruption. The chapter is called My Identity Stolen in Vaccine Court. And the chapter about Michael Hugo is called The Fate of Those That Fight the Darkness. I don't know what I'm going to play tomorrow night in the book club, but this is this now became climate change. So this literature has been scrubbed. This was the 205th reference in an entire book chapter that we wrote, chapter 6, but it had 5 before and 5 after in an Elsevier book, and I'll post that in the show notes as well. An Elsevier book tells you every innate change, everything, every T cell, every single asterisk there. I can show you exactly the cell. And we have the technologies not only to detect on a single bead, but to clear those out of your stem cells so they're not expressing anything. And then we can re-nourish our neurons, make sure the microglia are happy. They knew it. I'm just showing the papers in chronic pain. This is 2013. So which is it? And this is what they stopped. And that's why I'm showing you the dates here and why it's going to go back there. Because if everybody can humble themselves and say, okay, I was lied to, I forgive you and I forgive me. And forgiveness and repentance, you have to change. You have to do the opposite. Can we limit the liability again? Yes. Watch that movie and you will see it hums along. I taught in that I am still an adjunct professor in the vaccine injury, the George Washington University, the professor there that's on Fox News every night, the George Washington University Law School Vaccine Injury Law Clinic. We teach lawyers We teach lawyers how to do these cases, because then everybody gets paid. It costs the government the least possible. The maximum award in that program is $250,000. And these cases, some of these cases were 6 years. Total corruption. The government, the HHS, goes against these families. The vaccine injury compensation program is beyond corruption, but it didn't start that way in 1984 when Ronald Reagan knew. He said, why don't you make them safer? And Tony Fauci told you, they're unavoidably unsafe. Somebody has to die. Want to see the pictures of some of the people they injured? Next. Slide. Wherever. There's the excipients. Okay. So vaccine means cow. Vaca. Here's how we did those cases. Oh, vaca. Oh, you mean there's Vero monkey kidney cells? SV40 Vero monkey kidney cells is not SV40. SV40 wasn't just put there. No, used to manufacture in different kinds of simian cells. SV40 was the 40th virus that came out of the monkeys and the only one that bothered the humans in a visible way. So polysorbate 80, detergent, neomycin, antibiotics, and polymix in two kinds. Fenton medium. Fenton media contains yeast and other iron. The Fenton reaction is an iron reaction, and we're doing in our class on Thursday nights. You'll see it on our website. We're doing in our class at the Body Healing. We're going through a paper in an entire semester called No Effects Without Causes. I just gave you the introduction of the class last week. You get detailed. It's for practitioners. You get detailed how to see it very quickly, how to help your patients, what kinds of natural products can you use, and when, and in what person. When can you use these drugs? How much? When can you use fenbendazole, ivermectin? What to use in combination? What not to use? And all of these injuries can go away because it's synergistic immune dysregulation by the excipients, by the adjuvants, the helpers, the things that, because most of these things won't generate an antibiotic response, because they're not pathogen-associated molecular patterns. They're danger-associated molecular patterns, and that's what you're breathing and seeing and smelling, and that's why they had to take out your innate immune responses. So the next, and look at the dates, 2011. They didn't throw those shots away, folks, when our paper came out in 2009. They just gave them all to the people in COVID. The standard vaccines increase. So HIV, so they know they can go after everyone with HIV and make Hillary Clinton's dream come true, that she can kill everybody and achieve her goal, even though including President Trump and Bobby and some of the rest of us that she wants to kill. But you get something called Pediarix. You don't know what DTaP and Hep B and IPV are. Oh, and you give all of those. What else did Trump earn us? Trump earned us the that now, and Kennedy more than anybody. It's vaccine preventable diseases. It's measles. It's pertussis. It's influenza or flu. It's COVID. It's shingles. It's chickenpox. It can even be hemorrhagic fever. There was no Ebola in Uganda, folks. Or Hanta from New Mexico. That's self-limiting as well. But we know the families of the viruses, and we know how to prevent them. And hantavirus, by the way, is one that grows on dust, and that's what you're breathing. And the people that went to Afghanistan, the same number got PTSD as those who got the shots and didn't go to war. So it's the dust on the things flying through the air, the fear porn, what they're all doing now. So calf serum, every one of these vaccines has a bovine component in it. That means vaca means cow. 1828 Founder's Dictionary. The only cow vaccine can be for cowpox, and I didn't say smallpox. You know, smallpox is eradicated. Yes, can we stop an acute infection with these things synthetically and put them in an adjuvant that doesn't cause chronic demyelinating or any other kind of diseases that you saw? No such thing as autoimmune disease. The body of Christ doesn't attack itself. So I'm going to show you the pictures, and this is always fun. The next slide is the pictures, and when you see that highlighted there, it's because we did it in vaccine court. Jessica, she didn't get Gardasil. Yeah, she got DTaP. Lauren got Gardasil, but I switched them just so we know. So lupus, your hair falls out. What's alopecia? Oh, chemotherapy. So you were given chemotherapy in a needle. On the Substack we played in our book club several weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, we went over the Gotti paper, which came out in 2017. Thank you, Antoinette and Stefan. They're Italian. You know why they went after Italy. New quality control investigations on vaccines, micro and nano contamination. So you could see the nano there in A. Does that look like Carrie Madej's Hydra? Yeah. They're in all of them, folks. Look at that paper. It's every single shot. The only shot that wasn't contaminated was a veterinary vaccine they give to cats. Those are live red blood cells in the bottom right. That's every heavy metal on the planet, from aluminum to titanium. It literally came off the needle. These shots are so caustic that the needle is pulling the metals. If you please, it's the same things on your infusions. Use oral formulas. We are making them for you, and the we is the royal we, the beautiful people at Global Healing for the Ages, Brian Artis, that we're making things because we know this, and I've been blessed to be involved with them for at least a decade. Beautiful John Richardson, his father, John Richardson Sr., with vitamin B17, otherwise called amygdalin, at the molecular level for the part of the B. The vitamins work in your body, the danger associated molecular pattern responses in your brain. Nicotine's in 1,400 foods. Please, if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have a nutritional foundation, you can go into almost instant Parkinson and ALS, which is what you will get if you got a COVID shot and a shingle shot. If you got a COVID shot, you're probably already dead from ALS, and I can say that because one of my dear friends is in heaven now. But there's that little boy that I showed you on the front screen. And so as corrupt as his court is, there are great doctors and lawyers that sat there. And one of these great doctors from Georgetown University, he listened to my testimony, and we were always the special master moron, M-O-R-A-N, special master moron, literally in 2019 said to our lawyer at the George Washington University Vaccine Injury Law Clinic, I believe it's the Burns Clinic, but said to the head lawyer there, if they hired Mark Inc., Mikovits and Rossetti Consulting, to do these cases again, nobody would get paid. And then he backed that up by a Irish woman living in the middle of New York City who got COVID in 2018. Remember, it was always there. That's why I keep telling you the dates. Please just call it the flu or common variable immune deficiency. That's what COVID means. It means common variable immune deficiency. It's on top of AIDS. AIDS had to be hepatitis B, and you had to be a gay and a prostitute. And well, that didn't happen all that well in our Christian communities. But we could get you to do in vitro fertilization and practice birth control. And again, the latex was, and the condom was the mask that drove the diseases and the cancers. Bobby Kennedy's done these cases. Stephanie Senes, Toxic Legacy of Glyphosate. When you use a simple product that the guy knew about from his work. I didn't know about it, but he said, "Hey, I know a product that looks like that." And that little boy with his, you see that dermatitis. It's all over the TV commercial. This little boy, by the way, is Philippine. He lived in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods of Northern Virginia. He was the seventh child, the only son, and he was the youngest. And that picture I showed you on the front slide was him going to kindergarten. So we didn't see him until he was about 3 years old, or 2 or 3 years old. And one smart doctor, one guy with integrity. It's everybody. It's 30% of all. We can't afford the liability. We can't afford the hate. We can't divide into groups any further than we're already divided. Just if we could, that little girl was on her way to Stanford from Manhattan Beach, Jessica. Nothing in 7th grade. The day she got that shot was the last day that she got on that balance beam, because she had postural orthostatic tachycardia, meaning your heart races when you stand up and when you sit down, in AFib. Your heart didn't one day go into fibrillation and forget to start beating. These are the crimes. We're driving towards the industry so we can bankrupt our country. But I'm telling you, for pennies, we can have these cures. We can use the ones I made my whole life. That's why I'm shaking this full bottle, because I tell everybody, hey, go get your HIV diagnosis, and then go collect your free medication, free in California. Kaiser has to pay for it. And Kaiser is the one that on several of these cases, Kaiser was the one that was criminal. And so what we want to do is, we definitely want to give the transparencies like I've given you today. I know that for whatever reason, people just can't seem to get over the Fauci lie. Yes, Fauci told everybody he wanted to be on the Tonight Show. And H. Clifford Lane, his second in command to this day, where's H. Clifford Lane? I forgot what he wanted to do, but all they wanted to do was be famous. And that's all. They compared him to Brad Pitt now, and I forgot Andrew Agassi then. I forgot what it was. By the way, Arthur Ashe was murdered. He was your advocate. Thank God for people like Djokovic who won't let that happen. Forcing a tennis player. It's all in the books. It's all in a lot of the books. You can hear all about type 1 interferon, March 31st, 1980. Curing all of this. We can't get Paximune because of the censorship and the corruption against Dr. Aleem Muhammad and the Nation of Islam, who made that product and have made that through a company called Bow Immunity for at least the last 100 years. And we can't get it. I'm saying 100 years and I'm exaggerating. But in 1980 is when we made these things, when I worked at the National Cancer Institute. For that 22 years, all of it is in the books. All of the data is behind me. All of the monoclonal antibodies are in the freezers, safe, and all we, the people, have to do is change the way we do it. Let's see if there's anything here, and I can give you one more. I don't think there's any more slides on here that I wanted to show you, because this was about what Fauci did. But if you hit the next slide, I think it's only the confidence of what I've been telling you. Oh, that's one you have to see. This is where the state of California has to pay for it. This is what Hillary's trying to avoid. This is why California. So everybody in California, we want to ask both governor candidates and mayor candidates, are they going to accept our oral immunizations, this international certificate of vaccination or prophylaxis? Prophylaxis means pill. And as Bobby Kennedy told you on his X yesterday, and a long time ago, there's a little known law that is, if there's an oral form that works, then it has to be used first. There is no emergency. None of what was done could have ever been done. And this is approved by the World Health Organization and the CDC. So this is valid worldwide, and in all 50 states. You write the disease, the immunization. The only one required internationally is yellow fever. And that's easy. It's in the Zika family of viruses. And yeah, we got a pill for that. And we've got a lot of pill. And in fact, a lot of different things. But this is ACT UP from 1983, from all the way back in all that your advocacy groups did and then for you now. Kaiser and the government pay for the HIV tests and all the medications. The CARE, the California, that's the organization that Trump declared a terrorist organization in Chicago. Oh, so now if you go look up the California Immunization Registry, you'll know it doesn't exist, and they changed it to something too, and changed the colors of it because we caught them. And we've been doing this here at Godspeak Church now for 3 years, including trips to Israel. We didn't have this form until last year. We had to go to public health and actually get the yellow card. But now, thanks to Bobby and Trump, the yellow cards are invalid because none of them that your kids ever used to go to school had the lot numbers of those 2011 shots. And I can't tell you which shot and which contaminant, so I can't update the immunizations of your children. If I know the year, I can get close to the ones made there. But people act like the vaccine is just this weakened virus in pure sterile saline. No, that was type 1 interferon Paximune in saline. And the FDA put VACA, bovine proteins, and immune health. My dad got sick, and he's 95 now, a couple years ago. And he was coughing, probably because they gave him the flu shot, which is a COVID shot, by the way. Every shot after 2009 was a COVID shot because they were liable. It had to be monkey, mouse, cow. They had to get it out of the way. So they killed you because you would react to reactogenicity, because that's not you. It's manufactured. It's not cow anymore. It's not monkey anymore. Now it's just mRNA in goo and in a synthetic lipid nanoparticle. Synthetic lipid nanoparticle, synthetic fats. Oh, so seed oils, anyone? Oh, did we weaponize and snap together like a little tulip? Well, that's what the New York Times told you all the way back in 2020. So Obama brought back the propaganda ban right after Hillary stood there in 2011 and got all they wanted brought back. That's our patents included. And when I say ours, I mean you. Tony Fauci doesn't own a single patent. None. They were always National Cancer Institute. This is and always was the National Cancer Institute. So if you have a positive HIV, nobody has AIDS. They're healthy. They're walking around like she told you. You can live a really long time. So we're going to ramp it up to kill them. We're going to ramp up the treatments so that we kill them, because most of the people don't know, and they've been bankrupted paying for their own treatments by their own corrupt doctors. It's very important. 18 years old. You must have who's paying for this? Medicare. To be eligible for the ADAP program in California, a client must be a resident of California, have a positive HIV. Okay, if the PCR test is the diagnosis, every one of the COVID PCRs is a positive test. If you had a positive test, bring it to us and we'll get you $72,000 a year. And you can give me the drugs up here at Godspeak Church so I can give them to the people. And I'm Robin Hood, remember? Have a modified adjusted gross income that does not exceed 500% of the federal poverty level. 500%. Earn less than $72,000 a year. And that was when I made that slide, when Benoit made that slide in 2023 at Clay Clark in Las Vegas. Same place that the car exploded last year. And again, what is CARE? An online immunization registry? No, that's against national and international law. You don't have to register. Who can your data be shared with? Go get this form. There are no benefits. What the benefits are is if you lose your card, you don't have to wait a little extra time and get fully updated on the next shot because you can't find the proof. You don't need proof to go to school in the United States of America. You don't have to walk around and say unclean, unclean, unclean. Jesus solved that. Jesus solved that. Dates matter. 10 years we waited to get this book out, Plague of Corruption, from when we first knew it. 10 years we've waited for this to come through. 10 long years, and now you have everything you need. So we the people, I think I put this one down here. Next slide, if there is one. We the people, and this is Senate Majority Leader. I've got his handwriting. Dead or not, we can take down that airport name. Showing you the emails. Hey, every one of these emails, unredacted. Every single case we ever did in vaccine court, unredacted, will be in our Substacks starting this week. Will be in our Substacks starting this week. I mean, you're going to get all of this. You're going to get the absolute proof. Oh, why'd they take, my name wasn't Mikovits, my name was Nolde. And nobody named Judy Mikovits lived in Reno, Nevada. Oh, and Vincent Lombardi didn't do one thing on that paper other than run a statistical program. And all the rest of the data was taken out of it so they couldn't see the immunology and the variants, and published in a Belgium Red Labs. Okay, so here's your XMRV strains. Here's strains of these foreign tropic, meaning nothing, it goes through other things, and molecular methods for detection. Who own the patents? For the diagnostics and the cures. Mark Inc., Mikovits and Rossetti Consulting, which is 50 years at the National Cancer Institute, all the data. And the cytokine signatures with Lou Stout, we've done it at multiplexed mRNA starting in 1999. First time ever non-Hodgkin's lymphoma was broken down into a signature and done well, 1999. Here are the lawyers that are the criminal, call them up. And so we revised that variant application in April. Oh, you can't do that. The patent was filed in 2010, and the paper was submitted in 2009. Oh, so the paper makes it public record. But when did we at Epigenics and Genius, Omnitura, and Mark Inc., when did we give up our patents and do beyond the right thing of what we could possibly do? April 6, 2009, at Fort Detrick in front of DARPA, the entire military. I sat there all day long and showed them the disease engine, showed us our patent, showed them the variant, showed them absolutely everything in 2009. April 6, we submitted our paper May 6. Did your DARPA do the right thing? No, they didn't. They just bioweaponed it and used it as Hillary promised you would. And here, they republished it December 22nd, 2011. And if you know what that date was like, go flying me back from Christmas after saving their daughters, after curing, flying me back when you're under fire because they're negotiating. John Coffin's coming after flying me, have to fly a private plane to get home for Christmas because of the corruption in the journals. There they are. They told you who they are, and it's criminal fraud. Stafford Matthews, S.R. Denton, when it absolutely positively has to be there overnight because, you send those little letters through FedEx because it's against the law if you send it through the USPS. And there you are, Frank Rossetti. Thank God for Frank Rossetti doing all of this. This belongs to the American people, and we can heal all of it. Royalties doesn't really matter. So they, again, within a year of when DARPA saw it, they filed new patents, and those people don't own it. And I'm not that person. I never was. I mean, since October 1st, 2000, I never lived in Reno and I never lived in California. Judy Mikovits never lived in California. My name is Noldy. See right here, the Commodore of the Yacht Club, PBYC, 2006. Nobody knew me by anything. So can you kidnap me out of a jail? Can you do what you did in that book? Sure you can. Where's your due process? Did I ever get in front of any kind of judge? Well, yeah. Because my sweet lawyer, good lawyer, David Folan, took me on March 16th. It wasn't a hearing of 2017, and we sat in front of Troy Flake. Troy Flake, the assistant attorney general at the time from Utah and of Nevada, and they came to Reno. It cost Frank Rossetti $10,000 to fly us there. At great risk. I mean, great risk. First time I'd been back because they're going to kill you. They told us, and they did a real good job at killing my husband and my daughter-in-law. But God has a sense of humor and wins. Because I got the last word on the deathbed, and thank God for Bobby Kennedy getting the autopsy that proved not only did David not die of COVID, he didn't have COVID. And the public health director here in California, Robert Levin, confessed. We made a little mistake. And how many millions of Californians died? Or Americans? A little mistake? I think it's criminal. Next slide. Let's just go there and I don't know what else. Thank God for these guys. 1986. Repeal it. The Childhood Vaccine Injury Act. Bring back liability to all. But the liability has to be limited. Because if we bring back liability to all the way we are right now, you've bankrupted this country and the world, and Trump doesn't win. And we need Trump to win. Trump, Kennedy win. The immediate moratorium on all vaccines was essentially done. Here it is. Now you don't have to get those shots. You can do prophylaxis internationally and nationally. The back of the form. You can order these forms. They're $1 a piece. I'm giving you actionable items that you can do right now in your group. You can whine. Tony Fauci didn't do anything. Robert Gallo, your DARPA, your National Cancer Institute, John Coffin, the people in the picture colluded for more to destroy more than 50 years of taxpayer-funded studies and do this. So you end the mandates and you restore the liability. Well, we can't fight each other over it. Can you convict the criminals at the CDC, the FDA, and the NIH for crimes against humanities? Well, that's going on in international courts. But we have to be able to get there. We need prophylaxis. You will get sick. You are getting shed upon. You always have since 1934. Get over it. They poisoned your food. God didn't need genetic. You don't have food. Less than 2% of what's in any grocery store is food. It's not food. Don't go there. They're shooting the crap through the vents. They're dipping your eggs in chlorine. So every spike protein from every monkey kidney that they're cutting up, all that garbage is going right into the thing you need to feed your X chromosome. Choline, egg yolks. Eliminate the advisory committee on immunization practices. Well, they tried to show you the rat, and unfortunately, it cost some more innocent people their lives. But okay, use NIH, CDC, FDA, every patent royalties, and unfortunately now it's 46-year plague of corruption, because I gave that slide first a really long time ago, and this was from 2019, standing in front of Ventura Public Health when those idiots, what's that idiot's name, Pan? When are these people? We've got to vote. We can't sit home. We've got to be in our communities. We've got to take back our school boards. We've taken back our community. We've all got this here in our community. Don't beg me when it's too late. Order it now. I'll get the pills to you. We'll get doctors who are using the stamps that are accepted. We the people, the medical mafia and the new CDC director have a really big problem. and we, the people, have an offer they can't refuse. Leave us alone. We'll protect ourselves. We'll sovereign our immune system. I'll teach every doctor that wants to teach it. You know, because that's what the Supreme Court said. Your pediatrician doesn't have time. Hey, a pediatrician means you're walking around 3 years old. 3 years old. No newborn gets a pediatrician. Well, hear me again. Do not allow anybody near your infant except its mother and father and family member. Please don't put them on airplanes and give them shots and give them money. You're just killing your kids. Stop. Anyway, that's the best I can do for today. It can happen. We can all have our money back. He's already trying to get it back for you. Kids born today can get a little savings account. They can own these companies. I don't know what else we can do. You think it's pharma and you don't think it's your entire Congress.
Can you take some questions now, Judy?
Sure, all day long.
Who wants to go first?
I'm more good.
The camera? Well, my question is, didn't Bill Gates, when he, the one that got the patent on the vaccine initially, I think in 2014? Is that correct?
Yeah, there's that 6666 Moderna patent. But again, this is Plandemic Indoctrination, the second movie, David Martin in Plandemic. These are functional forgeries of patents right now. Now all they're doing is functionally forging things and bringing out all these new drugs that are deadly, like Dupixent or whatever. Oh, now the first treatment for CIDP in 30 years. Oh, multiple sclerosis. Oh, you mean they have polio? You know, Vyvgart Hytrulo. You've got to stop asking your doctor because he doesn't know. So, yes, there was a patent in 2014. I really don't care. The fact of the matter is I just showed you our patents were all 2011 to cure you. It doesn't matter what they inject. If they're held to the law, they will never again inject, or at least you will get a choice. They're giving you transparency and a full choice. I don't care about Bill Gates. What I care about is Christian organizations and churches that are and organizations like YWAM that are shooting their children and causing them. Hey, you know, your God didn't need any help. And if you have to poison the people you're supposed to be saving, or just don't go. Yeah, the book's called For Life. And the group that went over in 2014, Kent and Amber Brantley, current John Fankhauser, current head of public health right here in Ventura, California. Oh yeah, we cured Ebola. Oh yeah, right? Remember they made antibodies? You actually have an immune system. So yeah, I don't really care about Bill Gates. 20 years, never heard the name until I was jailed in 2011. You know, the narrative didn't start yesterday. Or with Moderna, you know, the narrative started when they told Ronald Reagan, oh, they shot him March 30th, 1981. And that's when they just created contract research organization. Agency heads are scared to death how the patient populations will react if XMRVs work out. That was what Suzanne Vernon of the CDC, and a supposed chronic fatigue patient advocate. Oh, she came from one criminal organization and then lied to a bunch of people. See, the point is, we're not discerning. We're not listening to these books. I don't see any of you in the book clubs. I don't see any of you in the classes we've taught here for 4 years. You've got as many people, and I'm grateful for you, sitting in your room right now as we've had, and I know I sat there before, And I sat there before with all the same answers. We've been there. I was with Tim Thompson in Temecula and wherever we were. We went up and down this state with those people fighting. SB 277 is when they took away religious exemptions. I don't need, these are not exemptions. This is get out and get immunized. Bookstore.gpo.gov. It's all over my website in my X, therealdrjudy.com. Bookstore.gpo.gov, governmentprintingoffice.gov. Buy 25 of them. They're $1 a piece. And we can show you what to put in the kits. And then we'll show you the drink, and you drink the drink, and you take your pill, and you're immunized. And I stamp the forms. And that's it. Just it's no different than following the directions. I can educate the doctors or anybody throughout the state. The buck stops here. I'm the stamp. I am the stamp. And I guarantee you, as Minister Tony Muhammad said in 2016, well, Judy, ain't nobody going to your house again. And this is what we have to do together, is we're one nation under God, not under religion, not under Baptists, not under Catholics, not under whatever. When we're one nation under God, indivisible. We cannot be divided. That's what Pastor Rob was upset about, because Eric Metaxas wrote a book, A Letter to the American Church. A Letter to the American Church. He's got a brand new book out that we're playing in our book club called Revolution. And when you're highlighting about the birth of this father, and we've got an online, we've got a Spirit of 1776 document any of you can sign. Spirit of 1776 was the Holy Spirit, was God, was the Holy Spirit. We, our founding fathers, pledged our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. And our lives are our souls. And I don't owe my soul to the company store, and I never will. I'm a proud Native American. And there aren't African Americans any more than there are Jamaican Americans. And people are putting these things on birth certificates. Get a real passport. United States of America. We aren't U.S. citizens unless you were born and raised in Washington, D.C. You're not U.S. citizens unless you work for the federal. You don't pay taxes. Learn the rules. Learn the Constitution. I've got the one of Lloyd Brunson, who's still fighting in cases in vaccine court. I'm carrying the Constitution around with me. I'm teaching it. I'm handing it to our kids. We've got every one of these books. We're a lending library. Nobody comes in, because nobody has to get them. Trump Kennedy said you have to get 40 hours of molecular nutrition in order to call yourself a practitioner. So you better make sure your practitioner knows this and can give this lecture, because otherwise it's on you when you ask your doctor if something's right for you. You gave up your informed consent, and you gave up your ability to do anything ever again. You might as well just take the Kevorkian.
Hello, Judy. You're speaking to a group who's very much aware that we're not citizens. Yes.
But we're citizens of the United States of America. I got a real passport. I'm a citizen of the United States of America. You don't look at that form that they put out there, the passport form. You just really do it online. No, take everything offline. You are citizens of the United States of America. But you don't act like it, Steve.
Referring to the 14th Amendment citizens. We're not those.
All I care is about this. And all I care about is the Civil Rights Bill called 42 USC 1983, which was 1871, the best civil rights law in all the land. And I filed it, and it's called RICO, and the damage is ongoing. And every one of you in this room are going on behalf of everybody, are going to get your lives back. You don't have to go to sovereign classes and do all that BS. Just fill out the form. It's not rocket science. Go get you don't have to do this. We're making things too complicated, Steve.
Gotcha. You mentioned Moderna a few times. I wanted to know what do you get when you take E out of Moderna?
Well, obviously you get modern, but it's about RNA. So it's not modern, it's manufactured. The modern way to kill you is the manufactured. I don't care. They never made a single product and you bought it. Or you didn't, or you sent your kids to school, or you did a cube up your nose, which is rape. I'm sorry, they never had a single product. And I don't get it.
My point is, if you take E out, you got mod RNA. That's your perspective.
Well, the perspective is, hey, my RNA is my RNA given to me by God. It's different from my identical twin. It's different from everybody else in the world. And I'm not giving up my sovereignty ever. Nobody will ever inject me with anything through never again. And I mean, that's the Leidos machine in the airport. That's this. You carry him around. I'm wearing protective gear. Are you? Probably not.
You're muted. Is that a question? On a connection?
Jason, that question.
Oh, okay. Anybody else have any question?
That's Jason.
Jason?
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Oh, no, I don't need to be on film.
Okay. Or
Hey, Jimmy, do you think Trump was duped, or do you think he was part of the deal with his Operation Warp Speed, the military distribution of the so-called? What are y'all moaning about over here? He was the commander-in-chief and signed the original emergency. The COVID emergency was passed down to the states, where they're implemented to the commissioner's court to implement the emergency that was written in like 2014 or something like that. The 6 feet safe, the mask policy, the essential versus non-essential workers.
Trump was not the president in 2014. That's why I showed you Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State. No, Obama did this, not Trump. And Trump was never duped. Trump is not duped. Do not ever use that word with Trump. He is not duped. Warp speed brought this to the head so that the entire country, 41,000 people were injured by that shot. The best we could do was a control group for 40 days. 40 days was enough. Not one single shot ever had more than 5 days. Hundreds of thousands of books in dozens of years. Dozens of years. That's why I'm showing you the years. Trump wasn't there. Yeah, why do you think Kamala goes back to 2014 and the pardons do? No, he was elected in 2016 after Hillary fell down outside New York and her idiot press secretary said, she's fully vaccinated. And every one of us went, oh my God, that's the gift straight from heaven. Thank you, Jesus. Fully vaccinated? Trump went, what? And the next Sunday on 60 Minutes was Fauci promising you a flu-nami. Well, the flu didn't do anything, so he had to make it up. There's no such thing as a peanut allergy where you can't have peanut on an airplane. It's a psyop. It's a psyop. They injected peanut oil in a lot of things, so there are kids that can't do anything because they're, oh, you can see that. Then they put a mask on, the mask that did it all on the airplane. You're breathing oil. You're breathing petroleum. You're breathing, it's not your waste product, carbon dioxide. 4.4% of it in atmospheric oxygen. You pump 100% oxygen in your arm, or you look at your blood levels, and you're a fool. You put your hands on that cardia thing, and you're a fool. You're just a hypochondriac. You don't control your heart rate. God does. God knows the minute you're going to be born and the minute you're going to die when he formed the universe. And he knows how you serve him. There's only one God, and it's not you. So the whole point of this is Trump wasn't duped, and our anger shouldn't be addressed at Trump. It's not Trump or Kennedy. These men gave up everything. They don't have to stand there and do that. They can have their money back. They can have their life back. They don't have to do this. Why are we mad at them when we're sitting on our duffs doing nothing? And I don't know what else to say. I've been saying this for 2 solid years, and everybody just keeps asking me what's in the shot. I don't care about the Moderna shot. Nobody knows what's in those shots. Nobody knows. They never did. That's why they got to get you to be stupid now and not vote and not support Trump. I just told you, he hasn't even had a year of financial anything. October 1st, they had no ability to do anything. The deck was all those agency heads that shot Ronald Reagan the second time. The first time, you know what they gave him? Colon cancer. So in 1984, when they were saying take away the liability, Nancy Reagan, oh no, you can't have your amygdalin, you can't have now we call it Laetrile, you can't have the drugs, you can't go to Germany and get cured, Ronald Reagan, unless you remove all liability from the vaccines, from the doctors. Notice they didn't say scientists or pharmacists or congressmen. Every one of those congressmen are sitting in there with vaccine injured children and themselves, and they know it, and they're just mad and angry and trying to hurt you. Yes, ma'am, are you going to ask me a question?
Yeah, I couldn't be on video either, but I want to know, you said there was no autoimmune disease. Our body was not designed to attack itself.
Correct.
It's very powerful because I'm a trauma specialist. And have you heard of the book When the Body Says No by Gabor Mate? When the body says every single one of those people that had an autoimmune disease had trauma. So I know that that's not your focus, but what do we do from, our food, all of these other different things? What do you suggest practically to help us? Because it's not, you're a Christian, so we don't overcome by just the blood of the Lamb. We overcome by the word of our testimony. That's what Scripture says. So what would be your suggestion, per se, in addressing our food, because this is a huge concern of mine, because when I work with veterans and you work with, you can't work with everything at once. You start to work with their mind, and you work with their body, because we're body, soul, and spirit. So I didn't know if you had any kind of, ideas, but your presentation was very good and powerful. Anyway, I yield.
Yeah, thank you. The body of Christ doesn't attack itself, and you're right on trauma. With trauma is this. Trauma is repetitive this. Well, you're doing that with every one of these, starting when the brain's not even formed. The immune system is not static. It evolves at different times of growth spurts in the country to protect you. I teach that class through and I'm happy to send you what we suggest, because that's what we're doing on Thursday nights. And that should be on our X Space and in the book club, so what we've done is we've taken out all the lipopolysaccharide. You can't start with the mind and think yourself well if you keep going into trauma loops because you haven't nourished the cells that nourish your neurons. That's what Deborah Burke says. We've learned so much about the cells. Well, the patent that we had on the diagnostics for the danger associated molecular pattern, that's what you're breathing in. It was the lead in the gasoline that was you're breathing in, not the lead on the paint that we're chewing on the wall. Molecular pattern, danger associated molecular patterns are these things. Yes, the trauma is very real. What is Tourette's, and that's what we do and we teach. So what we suggest, there is a powdered food called Cardio Miracle, and it is a recipe. Cardio Miracle is not Cardio Miracle at all. It's so much more than just your heart. It's common variable immune deficiency. And when I met John Hewlett at the Truth About Cancer in November, on October 23rd, this award is sitting right behind me, this big behemoth of a glass trophy of veracity in vaccinology and virology from Ty and Charlene Bollinger at the Truth About Cancer in 2021. He had appendicitis. He sat at our table, and I guess he bought the table so that I could talk to him, and he asked me about the recipe. And I took one look at the recipe on the back and did a little math in my head, and I thought, I see so much more in that. He was dying of appendicitis. Now that's an elective, because people would get sepsis and whatever else. You've got to nutrify the brain. We're all dying of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So I've reduced my intake of nutrients, not supplements, nutrients, to 3 powdered recipes. The ProImmune, I think it's behind me somewhere. So the ProImmune, which again, I don't make any of these things. We were in a hurry like we were in 1980. So the ProImmune is glutamine, glycine, and cysteine, not cysteine. That's why you don't take NACs and NADs. What I suggest is you start by a cardio common variable immune deficiency. I'm teaching those papers every day. It's on our website, The Real Dr. Judy. Go up in the top right hand, see Learn. So this powdered food. And the last one, the reason why I can go on a little bit longer, is the Dulce folks, Natalie, Nicole, and that's what we put in our immunization kits. We put 5 days of these 3 powdered foods. You put them in a glass and you take a pill. And after the 5 days, you're immunized against diphtheria, against whooping cough, against measles, mumps, and rubella, same family of viruses. Rubella is just the German measles, folks. So a measles vaccine when Bobby's answering those questions. So now it's vaccine preventable diseases. So we look at the source of poisons. Virus. A virus is a poison. As you know, she didn't lie. Deborah Burks didn't lie in that. Oh, we've learned so much about the cells that nourish our cells in the brain. Yes, we have over the last 50 years. And we've taken that literature and we've turned it to the AI lie. So I show you in a 2013 publication, and I'm happy for you, Kenneth or Steve, to give everybody my email, the contact for Judy Nolde, the God phone, not the government phone, and just come in there, and I'll either on Threema is my favorite because I can put big documents, but I'll answer these questions. We do answer them in Wednesday night and Thursday night 4:00 classes where they're semester-long classes. So we look at the entire environment. We look at the family. Yes, the veterans. We did an awful lot of the work in Arizona and there in San Diego with my godson, Andrew Serafini, with Pastor Tim Thompson. Of course, Frank Rossetti lives in Carlsbad right now, though retired. So we found 3 powdered foods. Dulce is a functional botanical sweetener. Here's how you do AI. Natalie Nicole, a bodybuilder whose aunt who raised her, had multiple sclerosis. So she started looking at all the garbage they drank. You put Dulce in any beverage with any other synthetic sweetener. All our kids are drinking these Gatorades. Electrolyte is synthetic, no electrolytes. Don't drink any water. There's, essentially only the Fiji water. They got some good ones coming out now. Topo Chico is good. I got this nice Vivana water, which is some lion's mane mushrooms and things like that. And so we've got everything that we need in 3 powders. You put them in a glass, you take a couple pills for a week, you have your booster for your year. Then we get it down. What I like people to do when they're in full trauma is start with those 3 powders all the way down almost as a fast. And if they eat anything else, 1 meal a day, clean fats, don't go anywhere near a grocery store, none, or a pharmacy, none. Don't buy any products in any of those stores. Whole Foods isn't whole and it's not food. So not Trader Joe's. Any place that locked you down during COVID took the money to poison you in one way or another. There's at least one store, that's by definition, because they're all out working again and we're all bankrupt. And so I suggest you get out of Medicare. I suggest you get out of these institutions. No health insurance. Don't go anywhere near a hospital unless it's a wonderful practitioner like you could trust. We have a community right here of docs. The Light Dove Ministries Medical Education Group, along with neurosurgeon Avery Jackson, the body healing. It's another 508 like Light Dove Ministries is. We do homeopathy. Robert Scott Bell, he's on 7 days a week. Lots and lots and lots of great things we're working with and products. Most of these companies donate them to me for the immunization practices. But we work at we just started a new company, my sister-in-law and I, called Real Food Knowledge, RFK-realfoodknowledge.net. And that combines Dr. J's Solution, which is the DBA of Mark Inc. When Plandemic came out, that was the end of our consulting company, obviously, and almost the end of all of our lives. But we made it a DBA because I hoped one day. And so we put everything we've learned and told you up until then in October 25th of October 1st of last year, we put it on the ground. They buy in. We have, simple things like foot baths. I love the relax sauna for detoxing the trauma industries. You get the silver products of True 47 on your skin. You get out into the sunlight. You get out into the day. You get out into your communities and you enjoy your farmer's market. You can wash, and I do wash everything in 20 Mule Team Borax. I take the avocado, the lemon, anything else. I put them in my sink. I put 20 Mule Team Borax in a half cup of water. I just fill the sink with warm water and soak them for a little. Don't wash them because the water's contaminated with you name it, it's in it. And you can't use just baking soda or you won't get the metals out. So we've developed very simple things of just knowing your environment. You've got to know every single patient. You got to know their families. So what we tend to do is we take that autoimmunity slide there. We take that autoimmunity slide where all those different asterisks are there. And we just ask the person, don't fill out a form, circle. We have green, red, and blue ink, some of those multiple pens. Circle any disease anybody said or any syndrome anybody said about your grandmother, for me, I'm the grandmother age because most of the diseases on that slide didn't exist when I was 5 years old. Lou Gehrig's disease, now they don't say Lou Gehrig's disease, they say ALS. Oh, what did Lou Gehrig do? He went to the war and he was a baseball player. I think he was in New York. So, Lou Gehrig, so there was an environmental toxin. You're looking for the environmental toxin. You're looking to protect the pathways of the stressors. You can't repeatedly hit somebody. So we use things. There's a new technology at the Karlfeldt Center, and there are centers now with frequency medicines, things like Hocket, things like the EE system, where the frequencies can go in and calm your brain. But there's one called ExoMind. And ExoMind is transmagnetic cranial stimulation. The movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So you can put these PEMF devices on your head, and then you're drinking the drink, and you can get down into theta, which is the healing. The word trauma means wound healing. That's your theta waves. And we don't get there when we sleep. So we address how they're sleeping. But again, sleep apnea, no, you must lay down. You cannot put those things on your face. Don't say sleep apnea. Find what is the obstructive airway disease, and I'll help you do that. This is what I do at the centers and with the products. I say, okay, I said to John Hewlett, I'm 90% convinced, do this study. And when the study came back the way it is, I'm like, that's your perfect COVID, common variable immune deficiency, CVID, if you want to call it that way. Common variable immune deficiency. That's what the first thing was diagnosed in every one of the warp speeds. The first thing of those 41,000 people was common variable immune deficiency. It's common. 30% of all America has something. But when you can circle the picture, so if I've got colon cancer, these things aren't hereditary. They're not your genes. They're your environment. They're your environment. And now we have the ability through AI and everything else. And I come in here and I just teach classes. Steve will tell you, he just talked to me last week. I was with a family and I said, well, this week I'll be back in my classroom. I don't mind doing this if we can get people to spread it throughout the network and we don't have to do it over and over again. And usually I'm not, I usually don't get angry, but I do think it's really important to realize, Trump had nothing to do with this country in 2014 at a level that was anything other than God preparing him through his grandfathers. Circle the different diseases in your immediate family. If it's your grandchildren, if you're the grandmother and you never had it before, you want to make sure. My grandmother survived diphtheria. And so I never need worry about diphtheria. I've got an antibody to that. But if I got a diphtheria shot, then it could drive a chronic disease. And now we know whether they're brain diseases, the different monocyte microglia stem cells. So we can do this, and we can do it with a lot of great frequency medicine. I hope that helps, because the solutions are really simple.
Darren.
Hey, Judy, this is Ken. I have a question for you.
Sure.
In 1990, I heard a lecture by Professor Duesberg, a virologist at UC Berkeley, and he claimed that AIDS was two different phenomena. And the gay community, it was because they were burning out their immune system with nitrous poppers, drugs, thousands of sexual partners. In Africa, he said it was malnutrition. Just curious what you thought of that.
The picture on the cover of my book is Peter Duesberg, the first book, Plague. I wasn't Wakefield. I was Duesberg. He's exactly right. They changed the name. Oh, so you just said nitrous. Oh, so now people are taking methylene blue and things like that. They're driving the same pathways. Yes, Peter Duesberg is a hero, and the late Peter Duesberg, and a friend. Fortunately, in ending plague, and you'll hear about Peter Duesberg, and I'm just grateful that I got to meet him in 1999, and I knew in 1991. The book Celia Farber, Serious Adverse Events. That's why I showed you what ACT UP did was to get the benefit. But what React 19, Bree Dressen, and those injured in the warp speed, if you will, those injured by that say for React 19, let's react in love this time. Bree Dress, great movie, Follow the Silence. So yes, Peter Duesberg is right, but they just changed the names. That's why I mentioned pans and pandas. These diseases didn't exist. We used to call, what did we call rheumatic fever? We never let a kid run on a field with a 99 fever. Now we can't even get to a 99 fever. We're stuck at 97 because we've desensitized our IL-1 beta responses. The signature of dis-ease is not dysregulation. By the time you're frank dis-ease, the signature means anytime you get inflamed, you're going to go back to the same site of trauma. So you want that relapsing and remitting to be as long as you can. And see, so yes, we now can honor and rethink and say, well, wait a minute, if we could just clump, that's why I had 3 columns there. Because the different manifestations where the dysregulation done over and over and over again ends up in a cancer is a very certain type of failure of immune response. You know, and cancer now, there's no such thing as staging cancer. It's called T2, N1, and M3. 2 tumor sites, 1 node, lymph node involved, and 3 metastases. There's no such thing as stage 4. That's just fear porn. And I'm just that not one single cancer diagnosis, not one single pathology report that I've seen or been asked to read since 2019. They're not cancer. And they're an immune dysfunction, and AIDS, an acquired immune deficiency, a common a variable immune deficiency. If it's at the level of your innate immune system, if it's the failure of nutrients like those in the fermentation products of the mycin family, rapamycin, ansamycin. What is the mammalian target of rapamycin? Well, it's not the mechanistic target of rapamycin. So it's really important before they change the words to stop speaking in acronyms and come to these classes. I'm going over 1 paper in an entire semester. We'll put every case from Vaccine Court where I show you these things, and I'll begin to answer those questions, and you can be our participant. We'll do case studies. You could say, Judy, I see this kind of trauma. Well, that's a damp. Is it TRPA1, TRPV1? Do you see itch? Do you see bedwetting? So you see, when we can get in these rooms as professionals and communities and heal our families because of simply circling what's been in the environment. I will always ask people what changed. Oh, they put up a 5G tower. Cancer right there. And I mean, even my dear friend here this week, I'm in here today, and she's probably mad at me for not looking at the phone in 3 hours, but you know, she's just, we're treating ourselves. We're taking all these contaminated products. We don't know what we're doing. And we're mixing and matching. This day you have to make a choice. It's biblical. You have to choose. That's what repent. That's why 2 Chronicles 7:14 is where you are. Repent doesn't mean 360. You'll turn into salt like Lot's wife. Repent means try a different way. And we've given it to you as what really is only 2% of the community at every level. We can teach the lawyers, we can teach the doctors, we can teach the chiropractors, we can teach the whoever. We can heal our land because we can take the best of each environment now and make sure everybody has the nutrients from worldwide. When you look at global healing in the biophotonic world, that's what I suggest. I won't use anything anymore that is not global healing. That the manufacturer in Arizona, sometimes I just go to that lab because it makes me feel hopeful.
All right, Judy, we're getting to the point we need to release this room.
Sure.
Get to your paperwork. What have you heard about fenbendazole treating cancer? I heard people get
You're still asking me the wrong question. I just told you. I'm saying that nice. You know, it's from Joshua. When you ask the wrong question, you know, in the Bible, are they for us or against us? And the answer was no. And the no meant, are you for or against God? So, okay. So fenbendazole in cancer. Okay, what is fenbendazole? What is the class of drugs? And what is the modification? And what dose at the right time? The people who are using it, and I know them, and they're good people. They're using it 10 times the dose and 10 wrong person. Pinworms. Do you have a scratchy butt? Or does your child? Okay, sprinkle a couple of grains of fenbendazole. They did a study in 2008 in mice in a lab at the National Oncology, and they showed you if mice ate Purina feed, or whatever the natural, the pellet, the non-food feed, just pills, if they ate the feed, they got cancer. That the fenbendazole became a blowtorch on their cancer. If they ate real food, powdered, liquid, or otherwise, a tiny little dose of fenbendazole would go heal. And this is where our 2010 patents are. The company was called Genius. I didn't want to do that today, but the patent in 2010, which we gave up when we showed DARPA what to put in the feed of the military, and then they could protect them from Japanese encephalitis or anything else, a botanical adjuvant, and heal cancer. What goes along with the fenbendazole and how much to take. It's easy to kill yourself with Biktarvy if you take how much they tell you to take on TV. But if I back that down and have the people send me, I leave them with 3 or 4 pills and say, if you get sick, take 1 pill, drink A, do a little bit at a time. Let the system evolve itself. Let the poison. Think about things like mercury in your mouth. There are different microbiota from your mouth to your anus. Those microbiota are metabolizing the nutrients in your food. Your body will always take the plant and leave the synthetic. So even if you put dulsa in anything you are drinking, your pancreas will fuel. The difference between hyperglycemia and hyperlipidemia. So you see, yes, is there an anti-cancer value to fenbendazole? Yes, that's the way we developed it at J&J. The Genius company was J&J. Yes, but if you use the synthetic one and it's only 10% and they call it generic, and you take 10 times, what's the 90%? Well, that's what's poison. Don't buy anything from TWC Wellness. They're poison. There's no such thing as generic. The ansamycins are mycins. They're a certain kind of antibiotic for a certain kind of parasite. Sangivamycin, toyocamycin. This is what I do. Make drugs from plants and soil to metabolize. So you make butyrates and you don't blow out your brain with nitrous oxide and the other things that went around with the virus. Yes, Peter is right.
From Dirt to Medicine by David Ennis. Did you finish reading that? Because it goes along the same thing you're talking about. Yeah.
Yes, and Bobby's doing all of this. And this is where, if you're passionate about this area, do the food babe for the trauma doc. Do the food babe, and we'll get that. Okay.
We do need to wrap up. We got to
one
more question. Or we got to.
What about captoids? You know, a lot of people are taking that now to lose weight. Is that
the fad? Oh, you'll lose weight, but you'll kill yourself. You'll bleed out. You'll liquefy out. Sure, you'll lose weight. Can we use these safely? Yeah, we can. In a very low dose, they're very expensive. Stop saying peptides. Peptide T, Candace Pert, cured AIDS, 1983 or 88, whenever I defended my thesis, 91. I'm trying to tell you there's nothing new under the sun. Fauci is saying right now in his little diary exactly what he said in 1983. Are we going to let him kill the rest of us? Don't ask. And Bill Clinton said, and don't tell. Go to the sources that you can trust. I gave them to you today.
Okay.
Ask about just the meeting when they have the meetings.
Oh, the meetings you said were on Wednesday and Thursday night, correct? The meetings that you have? The classes?
The book clubs are on X Spaces. For at therealdrjudy.com, you'll find out which classes are. The book club is on X every Wednesday night at Dr. Judy A. Mikovits, and we go deep into the very questions you're asking about health. We played Peter Duesberg, the book about Celia Farber, serious adverse events. So thank you for asking me that. Yes, so we can show how these heroes actually have the solutions and give them back to you.
Well, Judy, we really appreciate your offers. If you like, we can invite you back another time because I know we can go on forever. We
Sure.
do need to.
Well, you asked me for 3 hours and my meeting didn't show up at noon, so I tried to just do the most I could, give you the most information. Of course, I do these again. 4 o'clock tomorrow Pacific and 4 o'clock Thursday. I'll text you the link so everybody knows exactly where to go for the one on Thursday.
I appreciate it and God bless you. Lifting up the word of God is very important. And
Wait, here, you want to pray for? Wait, we want to close with a prayer.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe sure.
Hey Judy, I'm just gonna pray for you, man. What should I pray for you, dear?
Well, I guess that I do as well. I don't use things like what should I pray only one thing, the Lord's Prayer, all day long, that his will be done, that I learn to communicate in a way that people can hear me. Same thing, that I get my daily bread from, the love and the courage that I need to keep going out here and trying to, give you the confidence that his will must be done on this earth as it is in heaven, and the only one the way to do that is abide in him. That's Psalm 91. That's Jesus. I pray Psalm 91 almost every day. Read it off the wall.
Okay. Heavenly Father, God, I just thank you for Judy. I thank you, God, for the hard work that she has done in your name. God, I thank you that she keeps on going despite slander and the different things that have happened to her. You said in your word, happy are ye when you're persecuted for righteousness' sake. It doesn't mean you're happy, but it means that you have a resolve what the attacks are for. Father God, I thank you that no weapon formed against her can prosper. God, I thank you that she knows that she is protected in your hand. And God, she is bringing things on earth as it is in heaven, and that your will absolutely be done. God, I thank you that you're opening up her eyes, that she can see all the nuances of this, so your people will be able to understand the truth in this area of life, God. I thank you, Heavenly Father, for her finances, her family, for her dreams and plans, God. I thank you that you have plans to prosper her, plans to give her a future, God. I thank you that all the seeds she has put down in her life, and even today, God, that it would come back 100-fold, the way Isaac in that time of famine received 100-fold in 1 year, God. I thank you, God, that you didn't give her the spirit of fear, but power, love, and a sound mind, God. I thank you, God, to the whole world. She has heavy weights, but God, to you, all she has to do is be a little girl and crawl up in Daddy's arms, and there find rest, God. I thank you for all these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Amen.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Carry that by. Thank you.
She said, yeah.
Darren.
He does.
Darren.
Yeah. See you later, Linda. Perry, you okay? Yeah, I'm not sure what today. Well, it's so.
I was.
Boggled.